That's tomorrow. And that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting. Yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Honey, sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do video.
What is? I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow. And that is it.
Yeah. 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow. And that is it for us today. We will leave you with a. I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay. No,
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it. We'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow. And that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
Tú eres tan romántico molestando con una vipa. Me preguntas si te quiero. Yo te digo que no estoy lista y no quiero comenzar. No hay nada que pensar. Yo te dejaré atrás. Mientras gano más y más. No estás en mi nivel y tú no eres obligación. No estás motivada y tú aburres mi corazón. Eres un idiota sin inteligencia y razón. Entonces déjame tranquila mientras escriba tu canción. Tú eres tan romántico molestando con una vipa. Me preguntas si te quiero. Yo te digo que no estoy lista y no quiero comenzar. No hay nada que pensar. Yo te dejaré atrás. Mientras gano más y más. No estás en mi nivel y tú no eres obligación. No estás tú aburres mi corazón. Eres un idiota sin inteligencia y razón. Entonces déjame tranquila mientras escriba tu canción. Estoy aquí a disfrutar. Estoy aquí pero quiero gozar. Si quieres a mí pero vamos a bailar. Cintura a cintura papi tra. Bailando, gozando y me gusta tomar. Pero no quiero pendejos que no quieren respetar. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más. Estoy aquí a disfrutar. Estoy aquí pero quiero gozar. Si quieres a mí pero vamos a bailar. Cintura a cintura papi tra. Bailando, gozando y me gusta tomar. Pero no quiero pendejos que no quieren respetar. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más.
What is up, mi gente? It is your boy Luis Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, live with you on a special spooky Thursday.
Yes.
Mi gente show. So let's get this out of the way, just so you know. I'm Nick.
Who are you
Cage
supposed to be? You're Nick Cage?
and Con Air. Got it? Because I got the.
Yeah, love it.
I got
Not
the
at
hair.
all lazy. We love it.
What's up?
I said not at all lazy.
Not at all lazy at all. Not at all that I see a white A shirt in my closet and be like, and I saw my hair and I was like, I could be Nick Cage and Con Air for
There you
Halloween.
go. You tried. You did
I
it.
tried. I did it. I did
That's all
my
that
thing.
matters. The hair
yeah.
is perfect, I want to say.
Yeah. Absolutely. What's up, everybody? Special Halloween spooktacular today. Lots to talk about. We're gonna be getting our spook on with some very special guests. But let's stick off. Sophia, you got anything major, personal, or any rant or rave or thing other than your beautiful
Yeah.
costume?
No, I'm just excited to do the spooktacular, man. I love Halloween. I love Dia de los Muertos, all the spooky season, and it's almost over and it's breaking my freaking heart. We have like what, 1 week left?
1 week left. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, man. And like, I'm gonna miss it. Do you have any festivities? What about you?
I don't know. I was going to ask you if there's anything good going on because I am available to go out. So if there's something happening.
Alexis is having a party
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Want to come?
I'm in.
Let's
I'm
go.
in. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to save my rants for later. We're going to get right to it because we got 2 guests today and we don't want to back it up. So let's go ahead and bring our guests. I met this guy, our first guest at on a film set for another friend of ours, Ian Tripp, where we were shooting a movie and I got to talk to him and I was like, he's like, "Oh, you're a filmmaker?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Well, how many movies have you made?" I was like, "Well, 2 features." And he's like, "Oh, me too." I was like, "How many have you made?" And he's like, 19. And I was like, "Oh." He also apparently holds the records for most bodies in a slasher movie. He is, an icon in the indie horror scene, and we're very honored to have him on the show. So let's bring on Mr. Joe Castro.
Yes, welcome.
Hello, Luis and Sophia. How are you doing this evening?
Doing well. How are you doing? It's good
I'm
to
doing
see
good.
you.
I just want to say that intro was so entertaining. I was like giggling. I put my button on mute because I was giggling. I was cackling over here. I was telling my husband.
Oh yeah, yeah. I try to just add as much stuff to the video as I can. So today I was like, any spooky green screen stuff that I have is going in there.
Yeah, that's my style. That's my thing. Yeah.
And then I found the Spider-Man does the Thriller dance thing, and I was like, oh, that's going in there as well. So thank you very much, Joe, for stopping by today, man.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. That's very kind of you.
Absolutely, man. So let's jump right into it. It is the spooky season, and you have been in this industry for a very long time. Where did you get that start? Were you always a fan of horror movies growing up? Was there a traumatic event that led to this, or how did you become a master of horror effects?
That's a great question. How did I begin? Well, I grew up in South Texas in a little town called Helotes, Texas. I think there was like population 1,400, and I'm trying to set the mood for like what my childhood was like. Okay. I grew up on a goat ranch. It was like 55 acres, and we had a slaughterhouse on the ranch. We had goats, and we sold goats. We sold cabrito, and we would slaughter the goats there, obviously. And so I saw all of that growing up. It was very traumatic. I saw all kinds of horrific things as a child, and I was also I'm a gay man, and I'm married now. I have a husband, but growing up in a town of 1,400 in South Texas in the 1970s. 1970 was my childhood. I didn't even know there was another gay person on this planet until I saw Boy George sing "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me" on MTV. Literally, I didn't know. And so that was my childhood. It's like, so where did this horror thing come from, Joe? Well, I like dragons and I like dinosaurs, and my father was he was one of my biggest cheerleaders, and he knew what I liked. And so one day when I was 7 years old, he sat me down in front of the TV because, I was very kind of lost, I was very quiet, and I always played by myself, this kind of thing. And he said, "Son, watch this. I think you're going to like this." And it was Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. And it was a Saturday afternoon, and I got to see the movie by myself in the living room on a Saturday afternoon creature feature. No one was in the house. My father was outside working on the ranch, and my brother and my mother were gone. So I sat and watched this movie, and when the credits ended, I was just so like enthralled by this movie. It just like totally changed my whole world. And then my dad came in when the movie ended, and I said, "Dad, how did they do that?" He said, "Son, that's special effects. That's how they do that. They do that with special effects." And so we watched the credits together, and there was like, this Asian Japanese, artist, the master director of special effects. And it was the man's name. And I said, "That's what I want to do when I grow up, Dad." And that's where it literally all began. And then from that moment on, I've never really looked back. It's all, everything I do, everything in life is focused on, chasing that goal, or meeting
Mhm.
that goal. And yeah, and my dad knew that made me happy, and he wanted me to be happy. It didn't matter that I was gay or what was going on in the world around me. He just wanted me to be happy, and so he did everything he could to make sure that I was able to live my dream, chase my dream, and be happy. And he made me make a promise to him when I was 18 years old. I remember this is right after high school. I hadn't moved out to LA yet, and I was getting ready to move out to LA. And I was coming in the house I was walking out of the house as he was coming in the house on the front porch. And he said, "Son," he stopped me. He said, "Son, promise me that you will never stop chasing your dream." Because he knew that things change all the time in the world, but he knew that was the one thing that always made me happy. And he wanted to make sure that no one ever distracted me or deterred me or stopped me from doing that, because he had seen a lot of people, obviously, just, in anybody's life, there's a lot of people that will try to pull you down or stop you from doing what you love. There's a lot of people in this world that if they can't have what you have, they'll be happy.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. They'll be happy destroying what you got, and I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but he knew it, and he knew I had a hard road ahead of me in the 70s, growing up, being picked on and pushed around, and having my dreams squashed, and people saying, whatever, there in Helotes, Texas, how many people in Helotes, Texas dreamed of being a special effects artist, or an actor, or a movie star, or a movie director? Not many. It wasn't the kind of thing you did growing up in that town. So he knew I had a hard road ahead of me.
How did you eventually migrate to Los Angeles?
That's a good question. How did I go to Los Angeles?
Yeah.
What happened was I graduated. Well, when I was in high school, I won an international special effects makeup contest.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be. It was like 17 and under, and it was through a magazine that I read. It was called Famous Monsters of Filmland. Actually, it was called Monsterland Magazine, which was an offshoot magazine of Famous Monsters of Filmland. And you're like, "What's Famous Monsters of Filmland? What is this?"
Yeah.
The reason why we're having this, this reason why we're having this conversation right now is because of Famous Monsters of Filmland. The man that made Famous Monsters of Filmland, his name was Forrest G. Ackerman, and he was the very first sci-fi horror entertainment groupie ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he interviewed people like Joe Dante, Steven Spielberg, John Landis, Tobe Hooper, George Romero, all those horror directors, John Carpenter. And he was personal friends with Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff and all the movie stars. And he lived here in Hollywood, and he would sneak onto the movie sets, on the back lot of the movie sets at Warner Brothers and Universal Studios and 20th Century Fox when he was a kid. Because back then it was different. It was a different time. You could sneak in as a kid. You can, walk in, smile, whatever.
All the props they didn't have worth to it, I guess.
You know what I mean? It wasn't it wasn't like it is today, where someone's gonna come in with a gun and shoot you. And so he could sneak in on these sets, and he just hang out in the back and watch out. As long as he wasn't bothering anybody, I'm sure no one said anything. And so Forrest Ackerman made this magazine, and he had a contest in the magazine. I used to read the magazine. He said, make a special effect and win a chance to win a trip to Hollywood and meet all the special effects movie stars and your famous monster makers. And so I entered the contest and I won. And so,
oh my God, how old were you at this time?
I think it was 15. I was 15 years old. I was 16 when I went out to Hollywood for the first time. I won the contest. And by the time I was 17, after the trip, I got like a full 2-page spread in the yearbook as a special effects artist, and as a most talented, whatever. So in the yearbook of my junior year, I had a big spread of my makeup work and gone to Hollywood, and so everybody knew that's what I wanted to do growing up. And so the minute I had the first chance to come out here, I ran out here. Back then we had pen pals. Literally pen pals, where you would literally write a letter to somebody, and it was how do I explain it? It's very different than the internet today. And did I lose you? I think I lost you. Did I lose you? I think it's hello. Are we there? Can you still hear me? Are we good? Okay, we're still on. So, you know, I just basically packed all my stuff up in a truck that my family bought me, and I drove out here with a friend of mine, and we came out here to chase the dream of being a special effects artist. I'm kind of a little lost of what to do right now. Okay, Andrew says that's awesome. You know, just talk about more projects. Okay. I even have okay, so we want me to talk about stuff that's coming up. Well, basically, right now, my partner and my husband, Steven Escobar, and we own a franchise. It's called Terror Tunes, and we're on the fourth installment of the franchise right now, Terror Tunes 4, and we're getting ready to have the world premiere November the 11th here in Hollywood. You know, we started the franchise back in 2001, and it spawned 3 sequels already. It's something I'm very, very proud of. And if you're in Los Angeles and you want to come to the premiere, it's going to be in North Hollywood at the Lemley 7. And, you know, reach out to me on Facebook. And if there's any seats left, I'll be happy to put you on the guest list to come. I think we're at 80% capacity right now. So we just have a little over 2 weeks left to go. But, you know, we'll be able to, you'll be able to screen Terror Tunes 1, 2, and 3 on Vimeo and on iTunes. So you can just Google it, and yeah, you can. They're kind of fun, kind of bloody, but fun horror films. And Terror Tunes is basically a movie about killer cartoons, and it has kind of like a cartoon kind of vibe to it. If you like Adult Swim, or you like which is the Itchy and Scratchy show on The Simpsons, or any also Ren and Stimpy. If you like Ren and Stimpy, it kind of has that vibe. And you know, each one of the sequels is different. I never try to make the same movie twice, so each one kind of has a different feel. And yeah, I've been a little bit of a loss here. What inspired me to make Terror Tunes? That's a good question. Basically, I was driving up to a movie set in early 2000 with a friend of mine, and we were going to make a movie, the special effects for a film for the Passion of Christ, or the Christ crucifixion, basically. And we were going to go put special effects on the actor who was playing Jesus Christ, where he was all going to be all like tore up and whatnot. And we were driving up to the set, and sure enough, we look at the bumper of a car, and there was this like evil cartoon cat staring back at us, and it's like, I don't know how to explain it. And we were looking at the sticker, and like literally instantly, I don't remember who said what, but one of us said, hey, you know, there's never been a horror film about evil cartoons that kill people, but like for real. And then the other one was like, yeah. And when they kill each other, when they kill you with like giant cartoon weapons.
Hey, can you hear me again?
Yep, sure can. Yeah.
Had
but then
the technical difficulties real quick. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, but then you die for real, you know, in the Terror Tunes. So it's definitely acquired taste, you know, the films. And that we have a very like kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. We have a very specific audience, you know, that likes this kind of thing. Yeah. So anyways, yeah.
I have a question. Upon doing my research, I heard that Terror Tunes, the first one, took 3 days. You filmed 3 days, and it was $2,300. Was it?
Yes,
budget?
yes.
What? Were the rest kind of like that, or was that just like?
Yeah, that was just so when we made the first Terror Tunes, my husband and I had been on a movie set in Texas called Attack of the Bat Monsters. And the movie was about the making of a low budget movie in the 1950s. And back in the 1950s, they would shoot a whole movie in like 3 or 4 days. It was very common. And they would shoot it with this thing called short ends, which is they shoot it on film, and they'd have like leftover film from another movie, and they'd put it all together and say, oh, look, we have 120 minutes worth of film. We could shoot like 2 takes if we do it carefully, and then we'll have enough film to make like a 75-minute movie, you know, and then they would do it. See, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they would shoot the whole movie in like 2 days or 2 or 3 days. So it had been done before. This is kind of like an old, you know, technique. And I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, you know? And so basically everybody involved knew that we were going to shoot a movie in 3 days, you know? And I asked my boss at the time for $2,500. I budgeted out, like I could feed everybody, you know, I could spend this much money on the props and this and that, camera rental and whatnot. And we could spend about $2,500. I actually came in under budget. It was $2,300. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. You know, like we had the whole thing. It was all about planning, you know, like I knew what meal we were going to eat each day. We had lasagna prepared and put it in the fridge, and we had baked chickens ready to go. All we had to do was pull them out and put them in the oven, this kind of thing. And we shot the first day for 12 hours, the second day for 17 hours, and the third day was 25 hours.
What?
And, yeah. So we just shot, like, you know, and everybody went home and slept, and then they came back, and then we went right back at it. And we would shoot one take, and if the take was good, then we would just move on to the next shot. We wouldn't shoot, you know,
Check the gate.
And then if we messed up the take, we would go back and shoot the whole take again. We would only start from where they messed up, and we'd shoot it from a different angle.
So this is all on film?
No, this was on beta. This was on beta. This was on beta. Yeah, this was on beta. This was in 2000. This is like when the shot on video craze started, you know, and the Terratoons 1 was like one of the first acquisitions through a Blockbuster of a shot on video feature that was micro budget, and it moved like 50,000 units in the first 2 weeks. So 50,000 units at $3.33. You can do the math.
Nice profit there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So back then you could make a movie for like, then I started making movies for like $5,000. Like I could shoot a whole movie for feature for $5,000. Lionsgate picked up my fourth feature. I shot it for $4,500, and it was called The Jackhammer Massacre. And you know, like someone like Lionsgate would pay like $80,000 up front for a film. So if you shoot it for $5,000 and then you get 80, that's a pretty good turnaround. You know, you can make some good money. So, but it was a different time, right? A different time and different technology and whatnot. And I'm happy to have been able to experience that though, with the Blockbuster and the mass copies, and you know, having my movie on the shelf next to Pirates of the Caribbean, and being able to actually make a profit. You know, today it's very hard for filmmakers to make a profit because of the
streaming.
Well, not so much just strictly the venues, but because of the way the distributors operate. And I think that Luis was going to get to that, about that.
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted to talk a little bit about that. But I do want to, I apologize that I was trying to connect from my phone for a second, and then I had lag, and then I saw that Sofia was
and yeah, no, it happened to me too. Yeah. You left and then maybe it was after.
I was gonna go do it out in the garage, you know, with the studio in the background, but I've had that same problem where it starts to StreamYard starts to lag, and then I freeze up. So I have,
Well, thank you though for dealing with us and riffing all alone.
That's life, you know. You just gotta, you gotta, you know, that's
indie filmmaking.
That's indie filmmaking. You just gotta produce. You gotta keep going, you know, because. Go ahead.
No, can you talk a little? So from what I caught, so your father tells you never give up on your dreams. You start getting obsessed with films. You move out there. You make the first movie, you know, Betamax, and then.
Okay, can I tell you something? This is what it was like when I first moved out here. A friend of mine that's already out here goes, "Hey, come out here. I have a movie that I want you to work on. So I got a job. You can make some money, and you know you'll be good. We'll be good. We've got a team of people here." So we pack everything into a truck and we drive out there, and I drive over to his door and I knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, we're here. We're ready to work. Oh, the job fell through. We don't got any money for you.
Oh, what?
That was my.
They couldn't call you.
That was my welcome to Hollywood. That was my welcome to Hollywood.
Well, you couldn't get a text on the road. This was a long time ago.
So what did I do? I went to work at Universal Studios in the theme park picking up cigarette butts, and it wasn't but like for like 2 or 3 weeks before I got a job on an independent film set. And started making some decent money. But
that's a good way in right there.
Keep going, you know. Just keep going, you know.
What was the transition to where you felt like after you got there, you get the job, you do when did you start feeling like you were doing what you were supposed to be doing, like you felt like you were a full-time artist and you were on it?
That happened like 5 years ago.
What?
Yeah, like literally just started happening like 5 years ago.
Oh man.
Was that like imposter syndrome, or did you just feel you hadn't done enough, or?
Well, it took me a while. It took all this time. Like I worked on many like other bigger films in the meantime, well before 5 years ago. But it wasn't until 5 years ago that I began to understand my true identity and worth in the business and industry when I started to surround myself with people who were actually telling me the truth. And when I started to surround myself by people who were telling me the truth, I realized things like I'm overqualified sometimes. That's why I'm not getting the job. Or they can't afford me. Then they know it. That's why they're not calling me. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, they don't want to waste my time. Not the other script that my head tells me, oh, you're not good enough. You're not talented enough. Blah, blah, blah. It's not that. It's just that they think that they can't afford whatever it is. And it wasn't until I started surrounding myself with people that actually told me the truth that I really began to feel like, oh, this is where I am. This is the place it's supposed to be.
We really are our own worst critics, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. So, and I worked on all kinds of films before that. I worked on one of the Harry Potter movies back in 2011, and that still wasn't good enough. I worked on, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie and the TV series. That wasn't good enough. I worked on, the Night of the Demons. That wasn't good enough. I worked on the sequel to the very first slasher movie ever made, 39 years later, which was Blood Feast 2, and that wasn't good enough. I had a successful movie franchise that, made a considerable amount of money for what it was. And that wasn't good enough. None of these things were never enough until I was, until I was ready to receive the gifts.
Yeah, and what you mean is it wasn't good enough for you, right?
But
you were doing. It's all
perspective.
It's all perspective.
Yeah, what's it called? A new pair of glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, getting a new pair of glasses to look at the world around you, and then you realize, oh, this is right. This is the right way to go.
Yeah, and now know that you're the shit.
People tell me that. I don't have to. People tell me that, and they want nothing from me.
That's why, Joe. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
People tell me so. That thing was probably, I think that thing weighed like 300 pounds. There's from the original Terror Tunes. See that curtain? But see that curtain right there?
Yeah.
He's doing a magic show, and he's getting ready to saw this girl in half with a giant cartoon saw. And that is shot in someone's garage. And he comes out from behind that curtain, and behind that curtain's literally against a wall. So he's just standing next to the wall, and he comes out behind the curtain. There's no stage there. It looks like you're on a stage.
There you go.
Yeah,
you gotta do it.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta shoot a movie. Yeah, there's
you and your husband, right? I met him as well.
Yeah. He's super.
And then man. I just let Ian know that we were live. He said, "Oh, you did some of the monsters for Sincerely Saul."
Yes, and yes, I did some. Yeah, I can't wait to show everybody the stuff I did for Ian. Some really cool stuff. That's the premiere of Pretty Boy, which was Marcel Waltz's new movie. One of a talented young director I get to work with. I get to work with so many amazing directors: Matthew Vanaha, Justin Seaman, Shane Bradford, who's in Texas, Marcel Waltz, Ian Tripp, and just on and on and on and on and on. But
Lou Martinez, who played Lucha Maximo Supreme in that.
That's right. Yes, that was great. Yeah, you were. Yeah, I was inspired to watch you work because that was one of my first. I just started. Sorry, guys. I just started acting like 2 years ago, so it's good to be around like young people that are inspired and doing their thing and basically crafting their shtick. You can see that, and we need more Latinos like that. We need people that are these big positive influence role models to step up and say, do it, just do it.
Absolutely, man.
You can do this.
And that's kind of the reason behind Mi Gente show is we're, two Latinos and a microphone. But obviously the reason we started doing interviews is because we want to spotlight Latino creatives, etc. So when we started doing that, I definitely had you down as one of the people because I was awesome to meet you, and then I was like, well, this guy's kind of a big deal. We need to definitely have you on. one of the things that we've talked about with horror people before, especially with like Miguel from, I don't know if you've known him, Miguel from Horrible Imaginings Film Festival here in San Diego, is that, you know, there's a lot of horror that comes from like South America, Mexico, from places, and Eurasia, stuff like that, and it's sort of a counterbalance to the horrors and the things that are happening in the culture there, you know.
Right.
Do you think that the gay element has something like that? Do you think that there's, because I mean, like there's Brazilian horror, there's Colombian horror, there's Mexican horror movies. Do you think there's such a genre as like a gay horror inspired sort of genre?
You know, I don't know. I think there could be if it was really looked into, but ultimately, when you know, just being even the word gay means happy. You know, it's just like anything about it is like kind of silly or fun, or you think of bright colors, you think of, you know, but you know, absolutely there's a dark side to, you know, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've worked with some pretty twisted gay producers. You know, what's worse than a bad producer? A gay bad producer. You know, they're just, you know, some pretty twisted guys out there, and you know, but I think that goes without saying in any industry. But ultimately, I mean, I think if we looked at it, and I think you could apply the same, you know, dark tone to any sort of, like, even a heterosexual relationship into a gay one, you know. But yeah, I've never really thought about it, to be honest with you. You know.
Well, yeah, more of like, I was thinking more of along the lines of like, if some of the issues that you dealt with as a gay man in that time frame sort of gave you these, you know, sort of brought up some of these themes.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. No.
Okay, can you go ahead.
No, I know, now that you said that, I understand what you're talking about. And I mean, but I really don't think of it so much as like a gay thing. Maybe, yes, being a gay young man in South Texas, there were some horrors that I would probably bring into something that could be horrific, you know, maybe, you know, even slasher like. But yeah, no, I understand what you're talking about.
What about this?
This is on the street in Hollywood. That was 2007. And yeah. I said I like to get dressed up at like noon. I was telling Louis I like to get dressed up at like in the afternoon and go out. I mean, if you got it at night, no one can see you. You know.
That's true.
You know,
made that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Do you make your own Halloween costumes?
Do I make my own Halloween costumes?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I was telling Louis that I literally had to take a shower and throw away a pair of socks and a shirt before I got on the show tonight, because I was working on my Halloween costume, and something I did.
Oh my
I just
God.
like destroyed what I was wearing, you know? So yeah, no, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. This is last year. This is my husband and I. This is at Madame Tussauds. It's a fundraising event. If you're in Hollywood or you're up in LA, this coming weekend, the 29th, 7 p.m. at Madame Tussauds, is a St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and charity event, and it's called Halloween Hotness. And everybody in the independent film community is going to be there. So if you get a chance to come, you know, I don't know if they still have tickets or whatnot, but it's a kind of a big deal, and everybody's there, and they got food and everything. It's all donated, and it's great. It's everybody's on the red carpet, and everybody's dressed up, and everybody's trying to. Yeah, everybody's trying. Yeah, are you here in LA?
Well, no, at San Diego, close enough.
Okay, you should come. You should come because I mean, everybody's going to be, like, literally everybody will be there. I think they're giving Doug Jones, the man that was in the creature shoot from Pan's Labyrinth and Shape of Water. He's getting a
Shape of Water.
They're going to give him an award. He was there last year just as a participant, but he's super sweet, man. Super nice guy. Very, very personal. You can go up to him, say hello to him, and to chat with him. But he's definitely one of us, one of the good ones.
Oh, that's awesome. Back to the costume. Did you make the horns?
Yes, I make everything. I never wear the same thing twice. So, you know,
of course.
It's like I had last year, this young man who owns a gym. He owns like a workout gym, and he hired me to make his Halloween costume. Said, you know, called me. It's like 3 minutes before, not 3 minutes, like 3 days before Halloween. And he said, Joe, will you make my Halloween costume for me? And I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And I showed him, you know, some ideas, and he wanted to do something pretty elaborate. And I said, okay, let me call my bosses and see if I can just like not go into the work for the next 3 days and make your costume. And I called my bosses, and they're like, "Yeah, go for it, dude." This is me when I won the trip to Hollywood. I'm like 15 or 16 years old there, and that creature I'm standing with is the final creature in the movie Troll. Have you ever seen the movie Troll? It's a movie from the 80s, super famous movie from the 80s. They made Troll 2. I think they've done even Troll 4. Anyways, John Carl Buechler, a very famous special effects artist and director, made this creature. I'm in his studio there, and there I am getting my picture taken with it. So, that was a life-changing event there. Yeah, And even the shirt I'm wearing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Even the shirt, what?
Even the shirt I'm wearing in that picture is a T-shirt from the movie set of The Reanimator. Have you ever seen the original Reanimator movie? Brian Yes's Reanimator. Yeah, that is a prop from The Reanimator. It says Miskatonic University on it. It's the T-shirts that were printed up as props for the people in the movie. That's me airbrushing myself when I had a waistline.
Stop.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you've had we're seeing pictures here from 2005. This from different seasons. I mean,
I don't know. I do some crazy stuff like that now too. A little different, but yeah, it's still crazy. I mean, if you're gonna do it, and it's like
get after it, right?
Come on now. I mean, exactly. I mean, I want to make it memorable. I want to be untouchable. I want to be. I want to make it. You only live once, or you only. You live one day at a time. You live every day. You live one. Just go for it. Do it. Here I am on the set of that's a giant puppet creature from a movie that my husband and I directed, produced, called Xenophobia, and it's about xenophobia. Used to mean the fear of aliens.
Did it?
That was like the primary definition. If you Google the word xenophobia, it meant the fear of aliens or fear of the unknown. Of course, after the climate of the world, it now means the fear of foreigners, or an illegal alien, whatever to your country. But that's what. Then I always wanted to make a movie called Xenophobia, just so have it kind of all everything changed right after we made the film, and the meaning meant something different.
Do you prefer working in like sci-fi special effects,
sci-fi horror,
or more like gore?
Sci-fi horror, I think. Yeah, I mean, I love blood, but it's not really scary anymore, and everybody can kind of do it, and it's kind of cheap if you don't do it correctly, and so
Interesting.
Well, Joe, we're live with Joe Castro, FX Master, and we're talking with him. We're going to bring in our next guest, Andrew Jara, here in a couple of minutes, but I want to finish up with Joe here because I do still have a couple of questions here, Joe. But in regards to, and here's a couple of practical questions for you. What do you think is the most underrated practical item for an FX artist to use or have? Is it just tons of latex? Is it tons of fake blood? Is there something else? Gauze? What is like the first item you grab or the first thing you use when you're starting to create an effect?
That's a good question. Well, it really depends. I mean, it depends what we're talking about, and also, things have changed over the years. Back in the 80s, it was foam, latex, and rubber, and as we move into the 90s and the 2000s, there's all kinds of new technology. And now I only use silicone. I use silicone for everything. I don't even like to make rubber masks anymore. I make them out of silicone. So I always start with something. As far as like a material, even the silicones themselves have changed in the past 10 years, 15 years. So
you've adapted. You haven't like gotten stuck like, I only use this or I only use that. You've sort of like adapted with it, right?
Yeah. Well, once you move forward and the results are so amazing, there's no reason to move backwards. And that goes.
And then another thing I wanted to touch base on because I want to bring Andrew on for this because he's an independent filmmaker.
Sure.
And then we'll do a transition. But hey, Andrew Jara.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Andrew.
Have you been enjoying listening to the chat?
Yeah, it was funny because Joe was telling this story, about growing up. It was a beautiful story, but I was looking at his website and it's just like dead bodies and like heads. And it was like, my dad always told me to pursue my dream, and there's like half of a face just staring at me.
Nice.
I love it.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you, that I wanted to ask Joe about is because some of the things that we deal with is on an indie film level, and I know that FX artists have to deal with an indie film level, is people that want them to work for free, or that don't understand what the cost of a special effects is, right? As an indie filmmaker at this level, you're also the producer if you're the director and the writer for the most level. So even though I've gotten a chance to collaborate with makeup artists in the past, the way I've always approached them is in terms of being more collaborative because I always think there's a difference between collaboration and getting somebody to work with you from free. When you collaborate with somebody, you have to give up some of the power. So if you want to collaborate with a makeup artist, then instead of saying, "Hey, can you cut this guy's arm off in a movie?" I would be like, "Hey, is there something that you would want to do that you haven't done yet, that you're like, hey, I really want to disembowel somebody," and then you tell me, and I'm like, cool, I'll work that disembowelment into my film if it's going to be. Am I on the right track with something like that in the way that indie filmmakers should approach that?
Well, I mean, okay, this is here. You're asking me my personal take on working with producers in the micro budget world, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, here's in a nutshell. Yes, I'm concerned about the budget of the film and the quality of the film, but ultimately it doesn't matter what it is. My work still has to look amazing no matter what it is. And in order for that to happen, there are like laws of nature. There's like physics going on here. I have to use this material. I have to take this much time to do it. I need the actor. I need to have this technician to help me. I have to use this kind of makeup, and this costs money. Today I went to buy some materials for this year's Halloween costume. It has literally tripled in the past 3 years because I use silicone, which is a petroleum-based product. And the silicone, the price of gasoline has gone up 3 times the amount, right? So literally the silicone went from being like $300 for a 5-gallon drum to $1,000 for a 5-gallon drum. I just paid $1,000 today for a 5-gallon drum of silicone. Just the silicone. That doesn't have to do with the tint that goes in it, the cups that I mix it with, the catalyst that actually kicks it, or the plaster that I make the mold with, or the foam that goes inside the silicone. None of that. Whoa. It's just the silicone. So when you're working with a technician, just know that the materials have severely gotten expensive, And,
so as much as somebody might want to work with you and that somebody might want to believe in the product, there's still a baseline to cost that can't be overcome, right?
That's right. I mean, let's put it this way. There's a lot of young people out there that are willing to invest their own time and their own money into getting their name, out on a film or whatever. But then you also have experience that goes with that. Just because they want to spend their own money doesn't mean they're going to give you exactly what you need. You may be content with what they got, but you won't get everything else that comes with having someone with 40 years experience has. I know how to light it. I know all kinds of stuff that comes with just making the effect, So
and the reason I was asking you that is because, and I'll do this, live, as they say. But like, for example, like I've met you and I think you're, obviously you're brilliant, you're iconic, and we're going to do a sci-fi comedy to one of our films called Alien Story. And I had this idea before, like I knew what I want to do, but there's a character in the movie that it's because there's a war between man and this other planet of aliens that look like us. But there's this guy that's supposed to be doing a YouTube show called My Alien Autopsy. And I had an idea for him to be like dissecting and opening up an alien. You know what I mean? So after I had met you, I was like, once we start the equity funding and the crowdfunding, it would be cool to build in something like that as like, hey, and we want to get this FX person to do this cool effect because we want to do an alien autopsy like that.
Yeah.
So what's the appropriate way to approach somebody in one of those scenarios, right? You have to get them to buy into the story, and you also have to meet that baseline so that you can either raise money for it or so that you can get them to buy in, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have come to someone like myself with an idea of doing something that's going to be amazing, and it's going to be very intricate and detailed, and you want to wow the audiences of 2023. I mean, just think about how hard it's going to be to please someone in 2024. You got, so You have to go all out. If you want to play with the big boys, you need to look like the big boys play.
If you want something like that, you gotta.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This man right here hired me to. That wasn't even a prop for a movie. He just wanted me to build him a fake head for his own collection, and so I was at a horror convention in Texas, and he was there, and I said, "Come up to the hotel room, and I'll cast your face." And then I built it and mailed it to him. But that's one of my favorite projects right there, you know. But everything, even the shape of the beard, his eyebrows,
Yeah, eyelids,
his everything, the eyelashes. Can you see that he's got like a gray around his eyes, and his gray around his eyes in the picture and there? All of that, all that stuff. Even he's even got ashy kind of curly hair. It's very hard to find ashy colored curly hair like that. It's synthetic, you know. I could go and cut it off his head and glue it on the thing, but I'm just saying all that stuff is money.
Wow.
It takes time, and that's intricate detail. Some people, they're just getting the technique of how to make a life cast. You know, if they can get past that, they're doing good. I'm way beyond. I'm looking at all kinds of details. They're far beyond that when it comes to my work, you know.
There's
I'm all in.
There's zero chance he didn't have sex with that, though.
I was gonna say something similar. Like the elephant in the room.
He's actually a friend of mine, and we have a big group of friends, and they're like, Joe, take one picture, just one picture. And I'm like, no. So
he's like, I've always wanted to see what this is about, huh? And then the one other thing that I wanted to touch base with you on, and thank you very much for stopping by tonight and telling us about your life, and apologize for the lagging earlier.
No worries.
But you're also an advocate for indie filmmakers. I joined a group that you have on Facebook, which is basically where people can go share either stories, horror stories, or contracts that they've gotten with indie and mid-level distributors that have then gotten like that fucked them over, or sort of have like a real place where filmmakers can go. What do you think, and sort of talk amongst each other about different distributors? What do you think the main issue is, or is it just that there's an industry built on the backs of indie filmmakers that they want to rip off, or what do you think the major disconnect is between the filmmakers and then these distribution companies?
That's a great question, and I want to start off by saying, if you're an independent filmmaker, just like Andrew and myself, or you make independent content that you want to sell and distribute, you need to come to a group. It's called Movie Distributors to Stay Away From, and Why. Google the title of the group. You can find it publicly, but you have to answer all 4 membership questions in order to join our group. There's no exceptions. If I see 3 of the questions answered, decline. I don't even bother, because we're that serious about the group. The group has a lot of amazing information in it, and it's a group where we share actual firsthand experiences that filmmakers have with these like low bottom feeder distributors, basically. Or these, actually they're popular distributors, but they're considered low bottom distributors. And the reason why they're low bottom is because they're basically pickpockets. They're crooks. And this disconnect you're talking about has happened slowly over many years. They've become cunning, and they become skillful at what they do. You know, back when I started making movies, I made my first movie for $75,000, and we shot it on film, and Blockbuster Home Video paid my producer $150,000 just to pick it up for like 4 months, I think, or something like that. And that was just Blockbuster. And then he sold it to all the different countries, the UK and France, and he got, 30,000 here and 50,000 there. And so he made back all of his money. It was easy to do that back in the day. So what the distributors started to do was, every year, and filmmakers don't know this, but every year, all the distributors get together in Las Vegas at one hotel, and they have their own little convention privately. And what do they do at this convention? They all get together and they talk about how they're going to screw the independent filmmaker over. And they all get together and they say, okay, no one offer anybody any more money than $1,500 this year. No one do it. If you do it, then we'll all be screwed. And they all stick to their guns, and they don't offer any more than that. And then that's all that they offer. And then, then they find other ways to screw you over at the end. It used to be they'd give you like $50,000 up front, and then they went to $40,000. And sure enough, by the time, back in like 2010, 2010, it was like 5,000. And then it was like 1,500. Now they're like, oh no, we don't give any money up front now. You get the money on the other end, and then they just rip you off. So this has been a slow drip of information, but ultimately all these distributors get together and they have a plan of attack.
So
they know what they're
collusion.
doing. Yeah, they have a plan of attack, and people don't know this. It's called what's the name of the convention, Steve? I think it's called. I forget what.
Fuck over indie filmmakers.
Yeah, it happens at the same weekend. The Consumer Electronics Show happens in Las Vegas. They go there for the Consumer Electronics Show, and they have their own mini convention. Anyways, and that's just a basic fact. Not many people know about it, but that's exactly what goes on. So ultimately, all these distributors are operating the same way. They're all operating the same way. People are saying, well, why don't you put together a list of good distributors? There are no good distributors. If you allow them to screw you over, they will do it. And that's just the way it is. People say things like, that's a standard contract. Of course it's a standard contract. It's a standard contract for ripping you off. They don't realize that's exactly what they're saying. Really saying
the standard bend you over contract.
Yeah. That's the standard rip you off contract. Of course it's standard for them, but it's not. And if anybody would just take a little bit of time to look at it, they realize that what they're asking you to sign is completely unrealistic, completely inapt for you to make a profit from it. And some of these filmmakers, they're just like trusting, or they saw this company's label on some movie that they liked, or that their sweet talk. People are like, oh, they've been so nice to us the whole time they've been talking to us. Of course they are. So is a used car salesman. So is a crook right before they pickpocket you and rob you blind, right? They talk to you, they get close to you, they buy you a drink, you get drunk, and then they reach around and they take your wallet, or you go to the bathroom and they steal out of your purse. That's exactly what these companies are doing. They're just basic pickpockets, and it's legal. It's legal because there's no one policing them. There's no one stopping them. There's no one saying this is wrong. And not only is what they're doing basically highway robbery, it's also immoral. What they're doing is immoral. They have no morals. And and when we're as artists, we're not really like programmed to think like that. We're just trying to make an amazing movie.
Have you gotten pushback though from the industry for being outspoken about it? Have you, or are you pretty much at a level where you don't have to worry about that?
Let's put it this way. They're terrified of me. They're literally terrified of me. They're constantly trying to infiltrate the group, and they can't do it because my husband is studying law, and we have a couple lawyers in the group, and we have a right to gather. It's a basic law of the United States of America.
It's like unionizing.
Yeah,
sort of.
We have a right to gather, and we have a right to discuss, especially in a private group. If you don't like the private group, you can leave. You can walk right out the door. No one's holding a gun to your head. We can talk about whatever we want in the group. We can say whatever we want, and you're allowed to leave. And they know this. So anything that's said in the group about them, they can't do anything about it because it's a private group. Thank God. God bless America. We have some amazing laws. We're able to do that. And these distributors are trying very hard to stop our group. Just today, someone came to me on a direct message. And he said to me, hey, Joe, we have a list in the group. If you go to the group and you come into the group, the very first thing you want to do is find a meme in the group. It's at the top of the group. It says the top worst distributors to stay away from. And then it has everybody's logo on it. And at the bottom of it, it says, this list has been compiled by the experiences of independent filmmakers. And someone came to me today in direct message, a total stranger. Hey, Joe, I don't have any agenda here. The first thing he says, which means he has an agenda. I don't have any agenda here, but I want to know how you compiled this list. I knew what list he was talking about, but it clearly says how it was compiled. So his name was Max Candy. Yeah. Who names himself Max?
Say his name,
Max Candy. Yeah. Oh, hey, Max Candy. Anyways, yeah, that's a real name. I said, first of all, your name isn't even real, and I don't talk to people who are dishonest. And I said, and I also don't take information out of the group and share it in a public setting because I'm protected by the laws of the United States. I can talk about whatever I want. And he was trying to get me to talk smack about these people and break the rules. And he was trying to get me to do something that I wasn't going to do. You know, they're constantly trying to find a way to stop the group. It started from the very day one. And I believe that the information is getting out there. A lot of independent filmmakers send me direct messages and say things like, "Thank you, Joe, for the group. I learned more in one day from scrolling through the group wall than I've known my entire career of independent filmmaking." And there's a lot of great information there. We have information about, like, you know, signs, what to watch out for, you know, what to look out for when a distributor is, like, you know, basically, you know, baiting you, you know, misleading you. You know, like a distributor will shower you with compliments, and the minute you give them your film, you'll never hear from them. It'll be hard to actually contact them. Or, you know, a distributor will charge you like $2,000 to have your movie poster made to go into Walmart. What you don't know is that someone in the office made it, and they paid them an hourly rate for it, like $100. They kept the rest 1,900 for themselves. You know, that's exactly how it goes down.
Yeah, no, I've scrolled through the group and I've seen some stuff, and I've seen people sharing horror stories about, you know, distributors that just fake numbers and make you think, oh, that movie didn't sell me well, I moved like thousands of units, or I see my movie everywhere. I see my movie at Walmart and Best Buy, but I'm not seeing any money.
Let me just give you like a little.
Go ahead.
A little thing. This day and age, it's easier for anybody to make money through a streaming service. There are so many. How many new streaming services do you hear about every day opening up every week? There's a new one every week. Why? Because they're successful. There are 4,500 Walmarts in America. If every Walmart in America contained one copy of your movie, just sold one for $9.95, whatever, $12.95 is about what it goes. So the reason why they charge $12.95 because it costs $2.95 to actually press the film on DVD, make the copy, put it in the container, and ship it to the store. So they're literally making $10 on each unit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If they sold 2 copies of your movie in each store, 4,500, that's over $90,000. That's just from Walmart. You know, and that's just like that'll happen like hands down. If people grab stuff, they want to see something new, you know, that happens all the time. It's just they would not pick up a movie if they didn't believe they were going to make a profit from it. They don't have to. They know exactly they know on the average about how much they're going to make. And then even if they don't sell copies, what they'll do is they'll take the copies and then they'll sell them to the dollar store. So they won't even lose a profit on the printing. They'll just, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll still make back, and everything that they sold, they made a profit on. So they won't lose not even a penny, not even 1 penny. They already have the whole thing done masterfully. Yeah.
It is a treacherous land to travel for independent filmmakers, especially at this indie level. So
I'm trying to get everybody. I'm trying to get everybody together so we can all like have a plan. And if we stick to it like they do to us, we'll be able to make some real change. But there's always there's a new sucker born every day, and they know it. There's someone.
And there's somebody that's going to just look at the bright lights, look at the contract, look at the name, and be like, "Yes, yeah. Where do I sign? Oh, you're going to take my movie? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. One last question for you, Joe. Just wanted to get your what is your feeling about like the modern state of horror? And for example, we talked a little bit about a movie like Terrifier. You know, movies that get promoted as I took a date and she was throwing up in the aisle and I saw 3 people pass out. It was so horrible. Are you a big fan of those types of films, or what have you seen that's not yours over the last couple of years that you're like, this is my franchise, or these are the kind of horror movies that are out now that I'm a big fan of?
Yeah, you know, I've become softer in my old age. You know, I just saw a movie. It's called Kill Her, and it's directed by Robin August, and I saw it at Screenfest here, and it's an amazing film. It's a really good. It's entertainment from beginning to end. It doesn't have a long running time. It doesn't have gratuitous amounts of blood to entertain you with. It has an amazing story. It has just enough. The performances are solid. You know, and I go for something like that. You know, it's got like a really edgy kind of cut to it. The director is a music video producer and director, so it kind of has this like Charlie's Angels meets Friday the 13th vibe. You know, it's like you know, it's kind of fun, right? I like a little fun with my slasher now. And then, you know, but then of course there's the really dark stuff. It's been a while since I've seen a really good dark horror film. It's been, to be honest with you. I mean, most of the stuff today is, how can I put it? It's a Xerox of something that was done so long ago that it tastes stale. You know,
So
stale.
add one killer clown, add some supernatural elements, skin somebody alive, throw bleach on them, and then
if I see another horror film with someone that has like a homemade scary mask on running after somebody, I'm like, kill me already. I saw a meme where someone said what the news said and then what actually happened. You know, people were saying, oh yeah, the audience was throwing up in the theater. And then the what really happened was the person said, I threw up because I needed to go to the bathroom and the movie was so long, I was so bored, I threw up in the theater instead of going, I don't know, something like that. I don't know. But you know what I mean? It's like, you know, hey, there is no such thing as a good movie or a bad movie. It either entertains the person who's watching it or it doesn't. You know, that's it's art. You know, it's all subjective. So, and I'm happy that Terrifier 2 is getting such a great response. It means that independent films hopefully will make a bigger comeback and we'll have more of a chance of having our movie shown in a movie theater. So kudos to the filmmakers, and I'm looking forward to seeing there's a movie called Mutilator 2, which is the sequel to a very cult film that was made back in 1984 called The Mutilator. If you've never seen it, it's a good Halloween movie. Anyways, I just got a chance to do the special effects for the sequel 36 years later, and hopefully I'll get a theatrical release like Terrifier 2, and we'll all be able to get to see it in a movie theater.
Oh, that's exciting. Is that your next project or your current project?
It's already done. It's in the can. We shot it in June, and it was one of the biggest projects of my career. And they gave me 3 months to prepare. They gave me a credit card, and they gave me, an assistant, and they said, go. How are we do it? Do whatever you want, Joe. And I just pretty amazing stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Joe, I wanted to thank you once again. It was a pleasure to meet you in person. It's a pleasure to be able to have this extended chat with you. I'm glad you took the time to join us today. We put the link to Joe Castro FX in the chat. Go check him out. Come with a check if you want him to work on your movie. Join his group. Join his group to find out about distribution, and hopefully if you have other stuff to promote or when you have time, you can come back and we can talk more about your efforts and stuff like that. But we wish you the best of luck, and we want to thank you again for coming on Mi Gente Show.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. And Andrew, Luis, and Sofia, if you ever up in LA, please reach out to me in advance so we can get together and have coffee and talk shop and, start a conversation. Let's make a movie. We can make it happen. And if you want me to be a part of your project, it would be my honor.
Likewise, that would be awesome.
Trust me, if I get to dissect the alien like I want, you're like, I always subscribe to the theory of ask the prettiest girl out first because you never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
It's like step one, talk to Joe, and then after that, then I'll go to step two. But definitely, we're gonna ask the prettiest girl out first, Joe. So you can. Thank you very much for being a part of the show, man. Thank you.
Right on. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
All right, be good.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
All right, take it easy, Joe. Bye. All right, we had Joe Castro, FX Master.
Yes.
Andrew, what'd you think?
Yeah, he was cool. Yeah, it was cool to hear his perspective on things.
Yeah. Andrew, thank you so much for helping him riff off as well. I saw the chat and you were asking him questions.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was anyone else he could see. And he kind of he didn't know what to do. So I was like, well, let me see if I can at least, if he can see my chat.
Boys riffing.
You just
got
to
like, all right, Andrew,
the show goes on. Yeah,
the show must go on. I was like, my God, right now, both me and Sophia's internet starts to take a shit.
I know. That has never happened. Both of us at the same time. We usually,
it's a pain. Maybe it was a Chula Vista San Diego thing. All right. So moving right along, we have Mr. Andrew Jara, indie filmmaker that was part of the San Diego Latino Film Festival last year. I saw his movie. He has allowed us to play one of his movies right now. So I'm going to do a quick costume change. This is a short 3-minute movie called Our Millennials Killing Freddy that we screened at the festival last year. So I'm gonna put that on full screen, play that for everybody, and then we're gonna come back and talk to Andrew and finish up the show. All right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this over here. So there we go.
Oh, nice.
There we go. Actually, no, we'll take us off. All right, we'll be back in a second.
fall asleep. Little did you know, as soon as you close your eyes, you'll be mine. Tell her goodbye, 'cause soon you'll be mine. After that, it's game over. Enjoy this movie. It will be your last. Enjoy this episode of Friends. It will be your last. Yes. Enjoy this 8-episode limited series. Oh, come on! Come on! Oh, come on, Callie. Don't go back to Godzilla.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I know, right? Give me some. Myers.
Are you here to kill me?
Hang on. You know what? Forget it. Jason can have it. Bye-bye.
Hey, do you want to take a selfie?
Love it. Millennials don't sleep.
Yeah.
Millennials.
Yeah, it was based on the fact that I never go to sleep. So yes.
Yeah, we ruin everything.
Yeah.
You're literally killing Freddie, man, with your non-sleep. All right, I've done my wardrobe change. I've taken off. I took off my Nick Cage costume.
Oh man,
It's not even
Yeah.
Not
Halloween's
committed.
over. I don't know why.
That's all right. But
I doubled down on the skeleton.
Yeah.
double down on the
And the
skeletons.
pumpkins and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. I love Halloween.
She definitely committed.
You know, that was another
Um,
question I should have asked Joe: is why do queer people like myself and like himself love Halloween so much? Because boy, do I.
I don't
just
know.
think-
Maybe
Well, I think it's that weird thing where, like, well, at least in my family and everyone I know, like, if I walked into my grandma's house right now and I said I just saw a ghost, she wouldn't say like ghosts aren't real. She'd be like, well, what was he doing? You know, like there's that automatic belief in the supernatural.
grandma?
So yeah, exactly. It's like, well, who was it? You know, like it's just like I don't know. I think it's just the way we're brought up that believing in supernatural stuff isn't that weird, you know?
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're
Well, I guess that would
Latino,
be more like
right?
a Latino thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely Latino.
Well, I know it's Mexican. I don't know about all I know is the Mexicans on our side do it. I don't know about
Oh yeah.
because I don't even know how far Dia de los Muertos goes. Like, does it go to
I think it
Puerto
goes
Ricans and like
into.
Cubans celebrate?
Oh, you mean like country-wise?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I
Yeah,
always thought it was
see?
just a Mexican thing. I don't
And
know.
that's what I thought too. Like, I thought that La Llorona was completely Latino, but I think it's more just Mexican. And then like everyone else has their own version, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like El
That makes
Cucuy and other stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Chupacabra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and this is the first year that I'm actually going to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. I'm going to do an ofrenda for the first time, and I was kind of like, at first I was wondering if it was kind of a strictly Mexican thing, but I think Latinos in Southern California is kind of like a thing already, so I don't feel like there's a reason that you shouldn't do it if you're not Mexican, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any custom that Mexicans would gatekeep from other Latinos. I just
Yeah.
think I just wonder, like, if I go into like talk to a Cuban and I talk about like the altar, will he be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" You know?
Yeah, well, I think that different, yeah, like, yeah, no, no.
Like
There's
the
definitely,
traditions and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I was
well,
gonna say it's like the beans, like Colombian food. sorry, Colombian food, Cuban
love it.
food, Mexican food. It's just like
Mhm.
it's the same thing. We just use different beans. We
Yeah.
make the pork a different
Call it
way,
a
but it's
different name.
basically but it's all the same thing. Go ahead, Andrew. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, yeah. No, and I was gonna say the same thing. Like in the Southwest, or at least everyone that I know, like on Dia de los Muertos, we leave the door open because the idea is that you're inviting like the past ghosts and like to come in and out of the house, or at least that's the tradition. But in talking to other people, I don't think anyone else has that tradition. I think it's just us. I don't know where we got it from, where we made it up, or what's going on. But yeah, I do think like it's funny when you realize how regional some of your traditions are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, Andrew was part of the festival last year. I was reaching out to people because I was looking for sort of comedy, and then he showed me this movie, and I was like, yeah, submit that. I need that in the festival for my comedy showcase because it's a cool mix of stuff like that. But I know you're also working on features, and you have some distribution with Tubi and some other stuff like that. So, kind of, what are you working on right now? What's the next big project for Jara Films?
Well, we have The Empty Space, which is the feature we made at this point, I think it was like 3 years ago. We made it. It finished right before the pandemic, and the pandemic kind of slowed everything down. But so now we're hoping to get that one distributed. And then just right now, like working on a lot of shorts. I just released a short today. I have another one on Monday because I also like Halloween. But I want to keep them more like I spent this year recording a bunch of shorts and editing them so that next year they go at a more steady pace. And this year, I think this year was just whenever I got one done, I would post it. And so I'm hoping that next year I can have like an ongoing schedule as opposed to just whenever.
Yeah. I have oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you're gonna try to keep one like in the can, like just so that you always have stuff to release.
Yeah, or at least so I know how many I have left. Because I think right now I have like 3, and I think hopefully by the end of this year I'll have at least 6, and then I'll know that I at least have 6 to release.
Nice.
Oh man,
Go ahead,
that's
Sofia.
awesome. I was just gonna say I just finished watching Prey.
Cool.
First of all, awesome concept. And I just wanted to know, like, where did you get the idea of just using the single camera and like no dialogue? I don't want to spoil anything, but like, where did that idea come from?
It came from, I visited my brother and he had one of those Ring cameras.
Yeah.
And I like, especially with these short films, perfect.
Beautiful.
With these short films, it's like cool to play with premises and like with different, I think I did like a found footage film or like the Freddy one, stuff I couldn't bring into features. And with Prey, I mean, you can only look through that camera lens for so long. So I figured it would be perfect for a short,
That's true. Yeah, and I had no idea where it was going.
Yeah.
The next level of filmmaking is backup camera filmmaking.
There you go.
Yeah, it's also that thing where it's like,
folks.
If I can find something that seems creative where I don't have to mess around with sound or I only have to put the camera there one time and never have to worry about it again, I will do it.
Well, you know which one is also creative, but I want to know how you even did it, was The Hound. You did a really good job of making it seem like a real old-timey film.
Oh, thank you.
Not only in the camera work, but in the sound as well. And I was like, how did you do that?
Well,
look at Sofia doing her research.
Yeah. I did one was unintentional and the other one was intentional. For the look of it, I think it's just the cinematography. Like we worked with a cinematographer who was good at being a cinematographer, but they spend so much time like figuring out how to make things super realistic and look real nice that they couldn't figure out how to go the other way to make it like look that kind of not cheesy grain, but that over dramatic element to the framing where it's almost like a play, but it's also like a Gothic painting. And so that was the first one where I kind of storyboarded everything just so he could see. Because I think they were even having, because I mean, this was in college, and he was even having problems like framing it in a full screen because he was so used to widescreen. And so it was just really like being a fan of those films and writing it. And then since we were in college, of course, we messed up the sound. And so, but even while we were doing it, I was thinking to myself, like, it's okay. And then we recorded in the studio and we just kind of like instead of trying to make it match the environment, we kind of made it separate as much as we could from the environment. And there's even some instances where the person's lips are off just the hair. Yeah. And so we did that just to kind of like, you want to match it. And since, we can't make it sound realistic, we might as well go the other way and kind of make it sound like it's shaking off of the film. And so I think it's like the only film, again, where that would work, where you can kind of get away with it.
Oh, yeah.
And so it just turned into a happy accident.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that was probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, a lot of people. The Hound is hard to get into just because it's so like we try to make it like we didn't. It was not a parody. It was more like a homage to everything, and so it's especially in this current environment of like Terrifier, people sitting at home watching like a 1920s horror film. But I'm glad you liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you always like inclined towards the horror route, or how did you get into that genre specifically?
Yeah, I think even from when we were young, our parents would kind of let us watch whatever as long as it like wasn't NC-17. So we watched a lot of stuff that like we were watching Aliens and Predator when we were little kids. And so it just kind of like seeing horror, it allows you to open up so many things. I mean, even if you look at my shorts, like Prey is a more serious horror film, but then the one we just watched, the Freddy one, is clearly a comedy. Like it allows you to have so much stuff. And I've even in the movie like Borderland that I made, it's not a horror film. You kind of like draw from those horror elements to kind of help bring tension, because nothing brings tension like the horror genre,
Oh yeah.
You are at 660 subscribers. So
nice. I need 6 more.
You're close. We're close. We need 6 more subscribers. I put the YouTube channel in the chat.
And it'll be perfect for Halloween.
Yes.
And then you have to, when you get to 667, you have to kick people
you stop
out.
Yeah.
Blocking people immediately. Yeah.
I always do that with YouTube comments. In other words, there's 69 likes. I can never give it another like.
Oh yeah. I do. Whenever it gets to 69, I always go nice, and then I make sure to make a point of it.
Exactly.
Right, we're live with Andrew Jara, filmmaker, horror indie filmmaker. So Andrew, other than what's happening here, what's occupying your life out there in Texas? What's your biggest thing right now?
Not much. We just finished another short last weekend, and then we're just kind of building off everything. Like I said, hopefully the empty space goes somewhere soon, and so just kind of like everything's getting ready to go. And then of course the holidays are coming up, so yeah, it's kind of like the winding down at the end of the year. Hopefully it doesn't get too busy.
All right, and you guys can watch Andrew Jara's YouTube channel. He also has a channel on Tubi where you can watch some of his film as well. If you link that in the private chat, I'll also send it out. But man, it was a lot of fun having Joe on, man. I met him and I was like, and then I started doing some research on him, and then I realized kind of like how kind of a big deal he is in the industry and kind of all the things that he's done. So it was really awesome to have him on, and I really enjoy connecting filmmakers and people, and it kind of makes me a little proud that Mi Gente show is promoting Latino talent across all factors, LA, and that we're so, we have a cis, bi, gay, anything like Latinos, Mexicans, Colombians, like the whole smorgasbord is represented. The one area that I do want to find, and I want to find more Afro-Latino guests for the show, and I've been sort of reaching out because I want to make sure that we cover all parts of our culture and stuff like that for that. But Andrew, you're just hanging out with us, right? Because we're doing some tabs and we're doing the Names way here. So Andrew Jara, welcome to Mi Gente show, part of the team. Sophia, are you ready for us to do some tabs?
Yeah, sure. Let's get to it.
Halloween, and if anybody actually I do have a bracket for Andrew later before we.
Oh yay! Okay, so
I didn't want to do it with Joe because we had already like gone with him so long that I didn't want to put it off. So I was like, Andrew's getting the bracket.
Nice.
But what are like some of your favorite must watch horror movies every year? Do you have like a playlist? Because I have mine. I have my watch.
As in like rewatchable, or as in like
this is the
best?
movie that I like to watch every Halloween.
Okay.
Oh, like the right one? Yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah.
I've
I like that
never
movie.
seen that.
The OG. They're remaking this right now on HBO, right?
Yeah.
Or they made
it's
a series.
remake.
They made
No,
a
on
series.
Showtime.
Showtime. They're doing a series about it.
Mhm.
But do you have like a favorite Halloween movie or something that you like to revisit?
I have like a couple of them that I just kind of go through. Like this year, I watched Army of Darkness and like American Psycho. I try to watch a new horror movie every day during October just to kind of see
Okay.
it allows me to catch up on the horror films. And then the thing that's always constant is that in between those movies, I try to watch the Simpsons Halloween specials because they're nice. Like it's still horror, but it's not as like gruesome. It lets you take a little break, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
that's awesome.
Absolutely. I've been watching. Well, what I like to do is I always like check in and see any list or it's like the most gruesome, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like I always go for the list and then I'll go pick off some and then I saw some threads where it was like, what's the scariest Halloween movie or horror movie? And then I get some, and then sometimes they're like good. And then, for example, what was another one? There was a movie called Lake Mungo or something.
Oh, you don't like
that.
Lake Mungo?
I saw it. I saw it on the list, and I had not watched it. And then I went and watched it, and I was like,
"It's one of those
right,
movies, and it kind of gets ruined by because I feel like if you see it and you don't expect it to be the best horror movie ever, it really freaks you out. But I feel like people go in, and it has such a big reputation as being like the best horror film that they kind of go in expecting it to be different, and when it's what it is, they're just kind of like, oh, that's what that okay. And I feel like, yeah, if you can go see it, I'll try to watch it blind and don't listen to anything.
No, what I've always said about like found footage and movies like that is that there was a time and a place where something like that would freak you out because it was the 80s and the 90s. And your friend would show up with a VHS tape and he'd be like, you got to watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when, if you had put on the Blair Witch Project or you put on Faces of Death or you put on something like that, that shit freaks you out. But I think now when you walk into it and you're like, oh, this movie's supposed to be a psychological thriller. And then you're like when I saw Terrifier and Terrifier 2, I was like, okay, this is supposed to be the brand new, like hot slasher, you know? Right. So I think that's kind of what did it. I mean, I understood what they were trying to do and I got it, but I also at the same time I was like, okay.
Yeah. See, and I think like to me it's always funner that if I could, my whole goal is to get to the point where I can just give the vaguest plot synopsis ever and have people like go in not knowing anything, because I think that that's the funnest way, especially to experience horror. Like I told my brother, we just watched Audition, and I told him it was like a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Because for like half of the movie, it is a romantic comedy.
I want to recut Audition as a romantic comedy trailer.
Well, and he was like, this movie's weird to watch for Halloween. And then it kept going and kept going. And so by the end of it, he was freaking out just because of where it goes. And it's, to me, that's so fun to like get people like where they're not expecting it at all, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I was too late. Sorry, Sophia. I was too lazy to make my own coffee tonight. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Anytime somebody's like, can somebody recommend a romantic comedy? I always put Audition. It's pretty funny. No, absolutely. What about you, Sophia? Did we get yours?
I mean, no, it's super embarrassing because like I love horror movies. I really do. But I'm such a I always go back to, I repeat a lot. And honestly, the movies that I choose to watch in October, I have a long list of horror films that I would like to catch up on. So I just added like Mungo and I added Audition. I have not watched them.
Nice.
Don't kill me. Yeah. But it's long and I don't know why. I'll be sitting on the couch and I'll always go back to the very campy, childish Halloween movies like Hocus Pocus. I'll watch all of the Disney Channel like Halloween episodes, the Simpsons like Halloween episodes, stuff like that. And then I'm like ashamed because I'm like, damn it, I could have been watching something better.
No, I think that's great. I think you need that palate cleanser.
Like comfort food. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because after you like imagine watching Terrifier and Terrifier 2 like back to back with all their gore and stuff.
I will watch it, I promise, because it's been talked about too much. I need to watch it.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on like Martyrs or like Salo, stuff like that? Add Martyrs to your list, Sophia, as well.
Martyrs? Okay.
Martyrs.
It's a long list, y'all.
The French
Oh my
version.
God, it was so long.
No, and I didn't even scroll. It's sad.
The French version.
The French.
I think it just depends. I'm not. I know it's blasphemy, but I'm not the hugest fan of Martyrs. I like the effects, but I don't like the story that much. But like, what was the other one you said?
Salo or 120 Days.
Salo I haven't seen, but I have like every once in a while I'll try to find like these kind of banned horror films like Cannibal Holocaust or
it's
Salo.
like Salo, Cannibal Holocaust, a Serbian movie.
There's like that Experiment 243 about the Japanese internment camps, and so like sometimes like I don't like. If you're gonna do gore for gore's sake, it has to be like fun to me. Like it has to be like Evil Dead style, like where they're just shooting you with blood. And if you're gonna do it like super realistic, like Audition we just mentioned, there needs to be a point for me. Like in Audition, it's clearly like a super feminist film, and so I understand why they're doing all that stuff. Or even like Texas Chainsaw, they have the violence theme, and so if you're gonna be super realistic, you have to have a theme. But like some of these, like a lot of torture porn movies don't have a purpose, and so I just kind of get bored and annoyed that I'm just watching people scream for 2 hours.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I guess that like the Salo and the like Serbian movie and stuff like that, where they sort of say that it is a horror movie, but it's supposed to represent like fascism or the politics of that specific state. Sometimes that gets lost on me a little bit. Because it almost feels like, okay, I understand it, but you're still showing like some depravity and some crazy ass stuff. So I mean, you're still choosing to tell the story in a horror way, right?
Yeah, and I definitely think it depends on how they're presenting it. Because, like you said, I mean, even if they're trying to make a point, if like Cannibal Holocaust is trying to make a point, but they're still like doing all that stuff to the animals, and so like I don't care what their point is. I don't want to watch.
Right, it's still
you cut a turtle's head off, you know.
Yeah.
It's still fucked. All right. And if you could direct either a Terrifier 3 or Scream 8, which one would you take?
I would probably take Scream. I like the phone call aspect. I would try to get Nev Campbell back.
Yes.
And I like the Ghostface costume. We actually did a Scream parody that should be coming out soon, kind of in the vein of the Freddy one. But yeah, I just like all the stuff and I saw the first Terrifier, and I've seen the Tales of Halloween, or the first appearance of Art the Clown. And I mean I love that they have their fans, but I'm not the hugest fan of that kind of like super gory movie. I do want to watch the second one, but I'm gonna go with a very open mind because the first one didn't catch my love as much as I wanted it to.
You talking Terrifier?
Yeah.
It felt, and I talked about this with Kurt on the 2 AM Burrito Halloween thing. It felt like a crowdfunded movie because you could tell they had the scenes and they got more money, so they were like, okay, I guess we can make this 2-minute torture scene into like a 7-minute torture scene. What else can we do to this body? Because some of them was like, and then I don't know, the whole like where he's like ripping people's skin off, and then he's like, look at me, I'm just like, ain't I a silly murderous clown? It feels cool, but at the same time it feels like the bit was gonna wear off at some point because it's like, you know. So definitely for horror fans, it is a cool watch. And if you like slasher and torture porn, there is the one bit I will spoil is that at some point he hands out Halloween candy at this house where he's murdered everybody, and he puts the candy in this lady's head. So the kids think it's just like a Halloween prop, and everybody's like, and he's like, and some kid tries to take 2 pieces of candy, he's like, no. Oh
my god!
And he's like, but he's got a woman's head in his hand, and everybody's like, he's like, look look at me. I'm such a silly, murderous clown. I don't know. I just kind of, I dig it, but at the same time, there's like something that's just like pissing me off about it for some reason. All right, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. We're live here with Andrew Jara. We're talking a little bit about his life in horror, and he's an indie filmmaker. I've put his channels and his Tubi channel in the chat. You can check him out. He's at 660 YouTube. So hopefully between this and the podcast, we can get him up to 666.
Yes.
The number of the beast, as I got my maiden shirt from the Maiden concert. And let's catch up here. Malcolm's stopping by earlier. He says, I can hear. Oh, that's when probably you were asking us. Pop Culture X stopped by, said love Ren and Stimpy. Lefty said something about aliens and said Yathas are far superior. Okay.
Predator.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. Let's jump into some tabs and what's going on in the world. Remind you that you can catch Mi Gente Show, Podbean, migenteshow.podbean.com, and you can find out here. You can watch. You can listen to our shows anywhere: Player FM, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Alexa, Amazon Music, Spotify, the new Podbean app. Where we're getting ourselves. All the places you can see us on all the places, listen to us, and then we also stream live on Thursdays. So thank you for everybody that has tuned in. And hey, I'm just putting it out here. We're doing some numbers. Look, the Beer and Startup has 122 downloads. Our first episode has like 200. The last few episodes have been doing good. 56, 62, 122 for the David Favela one. This one was just from today. It's already got 17 from this morning. The next episode with Rosa. So make sure you guys are listening and following the Gente Show across all platforms.
Yes.
Nice.
All right.
Mic drop.
Let's get into it. All right. Here's a cool video that we posted that was from a couple of days ago.
De la Ciudad de México, unos pinches fans te hicieron este pedo, te retrataron, te dibujaron, y ahí lo tienes. En vivo es la primera vez que Tenoch ve esto, ve este mural, con Quetzalcóatl, con un jaguar, con Tenoch ahí con su barbita y sus ojos cristalinos y todo este pinche pedo. ¿Cómo te sientes, cabrón?
Starts getting teary-eyed.
Aww.
I promised myself I wasn't gonna cry.
What's the context?
Wakanda Forever, the new movie,
I'm
and
so out of the loop, dude. Oh my god.
My God, Sofia.
So out of the loop. I'm sorry.
Emotional moment for Tena Huerta as he sees a mural made for him in Mexico. One time for Namor. Come on, Sophia.
I'm sorry. You don't send me these links, so I'm just kind of like, what?
I didn't know I had to tell you about the fucking icon in the new Black Panther movie
Luis.
that's representing your entire culture.
I'm a disgrace.
Come on, I'm Colombian.
I'm
and I
so
know
sorry.
Come on. All right. Let's cut that part out before they remove your nopales card.
Seriously. Nopal
Like,
off my frente.
We're removing the nopal. Sorry. All right. Customer service jobs are a fucking bitch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is lady dealing with Tell me if you can hear this.
No. I'm reading.
Well, with that one, we could get you checked in. It came in as a king suite reservation, so it has a king.
Question here is: at one point, would you freak out with this guy? Okay.
Okay.
Bed and a sofa for that couch. Yeah, I understand. It's the way that Booking.com sent us the reservation, so all that we have is that, and we're sold out for tonight.
I get that. So what do you expect us to do? That's my question.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yes, so we could either check you into the room or we could cancel the reservation. That's the only.
This is as far as I would go.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay, where else are we going to go? Is there any other Holiday Express?
I don't have the power to do that, but there are Holiday Inn Expresses in Bloomington.
Isn't that like a fancy hotel? This is a Holiday Inn Express.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I'm bad at customer service. I would have done it from his I understand the first time, and that's it.
Yeah.
So for context, it's a TikTok of a girl that was working the front counter at a hotel. The guy reserved through booking, and he thought he was getting 2 queen beds, but instead he's got a king bed and a pull-out couch, and it's him, his wife, and 2 kids.
That
So
seems fine to me.
for me, for any minority Latino, it's like, yeah, you stick the 2 fucking kids on the pull-out couch, you get the king. Even if you got a big kid, it's a king-size bed. The 3 of you can snuggle. You know, you're not gonna get any. You're not getting any sexy time.
I've slept on the floor of a Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
They're like, what
I'm
are they
nobody's
talking
sleeping
about?
on the floor. Yeah.
It's like either, hey, do you have any rollaway beds? No. Well, then can you just bring us a bunch of extra blankets and stuff so we can make a little thing? Like, it's, like you don't be a fucking piece of shit to the fucking.
And I really dislike the condescending questions of like, well, what should I do? What do you expect me to do? What do you mean? It's your
And
problem.
it's that thing where like you're at a Holiday Inn Express. Like, what do you think they have the power to do?
Exactly.
And it's
she
very
needs to not
simple.
engage anymore.
Yeah, if you book through, and apparently, like, I'll cut this out, but apparently, like, he's like, I can't do this, and then he came back and he like spit on the floor, and he like,
oh, jeez.
Yeah. And then he's like, who hasn't checked in yet? I want their room.
Oh, bro, no.
The middle manager entitlement.
Yeah, I don't like that.
All right, kids dressed up as kid as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh no.
I see here. The worst part about this is that kid doesn't want to dress up like Jeffrey Dahmer. He wants to be like Spider-Man. You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, that's like clout chasing.
Yeah, it's
clout chasing
strictly
and
for
using
the
your kid as bait.
parents. Yeah, or because like when I was a kid, I wanted to be like Luke Skywalker. It wasn't until I was like in 6th grade where I wanted to be like a monster or something. You know?
Yeah.
That's edgelord mom.
What are your guys' opinions on like the controversy of the Dahmer show, like, and glorifying killers and all of that? That whole discourse that's happening in the internet.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they should be telling these stories. I don't know necessarily if it has to be about Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't know why we aren't doing like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs are based on Ed Gein, but they're clearly not Ed Gein. And you still kind of get the same approach, but I don't know. There's such a demand for true crime right now.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the minority that I would rather see like an original story using these elements and taking advantage of like the actual victims,
Yeah. No, I think I agree with that. There's something, I don't know, feels yucky about it. When it comes to victims, at least.
I think I don't relate to the people that didn't know about Dahmer because I was around when Dahmer dropped, and when I was like, oh my god, like, because I mean, if you think of like Ted Bundy, and then you think like Ted Bundy with women, and then Gacy with men, and then it's like, so it's weird that we have this one like top serial killer for each like segment of the population,
right.
Like there's the one that killed black kids, and there's the one that killed gay men, and there's the one that killed women, and then there's the one that killed everybody and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I have seen tons of, and I think even better than, for me, like the Gacy tapes and the Dahmer stuff and the Dahmer docs are better than the series, because the series was trying to do 2 things. It was trying to rectify that issue about the victims and about the exploitative by giving us a deeper backstory on some of the victims, but it was being exploitative as it was doing that, because it was also giving you like a fuller picture of Dahmer and sort of making a piece of shit into like
a sex symbol, almost, honestly,
like almost an anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, Dahmer killed 12 people, but Heisenberg killed like 200, and we still rooted for him. You know what I mean? So that's the issue. And that's what happens and this is why stuff like this happens. Cause I don't know necessarily if she's got a 4-year-old that she was around and understood what Dahmer was when it was happening, so that's kind of, I think, what leads to that.
Well, and it's that thing I do like, and I know I just said that I don't, but I like the American, or Once Upon a Time in America in Hollywood, because it does that thing where, like, in the Dahmer show and in a lot of these other shows, they kind of treat these serial killers as if they're almost supernatural. Like, you see sometimes when they introduce Manson in other movies, and they always give him the long beard, and he kind of comes in like this, like almost like Hannibal Lecter. And I like the way that Quentin Tarantino kind of said, no, this guy wasn't Hannibal Lecter. He was just like an idiot who like got a bunch of kids stoned and tricked them into like thinking dumb shit because they were kids. And so I did like that kind of like, you can tell that Quentin Tarantino does not like Charles Manson. And so he really like made him look like a buffoon. And he did the same thing with the KKK. And to me, that's almost preferable because like the idea that racists are like super smart is incorrect. They're like stupid morons. And so it's cool to like show them as like buffoons and not as this like evil thing, you know?
Yeah, I definitely love that.
I didn't hate the Ted Bundy show, the incredibly evil, and that one I didn't think was horrible. But to the point that you make, it's also I also like when they get taken down a peg, but because if you look at it, Bundy was a sick fuck that drugged people and killed them when they were asleep. John Wayne Gacy would literally just show you a handcuff trick and then say, "Here, now I'm going to show you how to get out of some handcuffs," and then he would put you in handcuffs and then he would murder you. And Ted Bundy was just a good-looking white guy that literally just got away with murder because he was like he was a good-looking white guy. And that was it. So
and it is that thing where it's like
these aren't masterminds,
right?
You know?
Yeah. Like, was Jeffrey Dahmer like a criminal mastermind, or did one of his guys literally escape, run to the cops with a giant hole in his head, and say he was being held captive, and the cops were like, "Oh, they're two gay guys. Let them go back." You know, the same thing happens with. I think it's why so many of the serial killers pick on marginalized groups because they know like that no one. I mean, the Zodiac killer literally they found him covered in blood, and they saw that, but they had like a description that he was supposed to be black, so they let him go. Which, if you think about it, even if he wasn't the Zodiac killer, you should stop anyone covered in blood. You know?
Yeah.
You should not let that person go. Yeah.
Stop and frisk the bloody people.
Yeah. So like, are these guys smart or are the cops just dumb? Is the real thing.
And I think I find it really unsettling that they kind of make him like an anti-hero, a hero, whatever. It's just like you're giving this person publicity, which is kind of low-key what they wanted. Why could they committed such atrocities? And it's almost like I know that a lot of time has passed, but I'm sure there's still victims out there that are dealing with the emotional turmoil that they and so it would be almost like would we do a show nowadays from like, let's say, you know, the shooter that shot a bunch of kids in Uvalde or something like that. Obviously no, because it's too soon, right? But I'm like, in the future, is that the expectation? Like, are there going to be movies about this guy? And is it going to be sympathetic? Because it makes me feel uneasy. So I don't know. I think that's why I haven't watched Dahmer. It just makes me feel uneasy.
Yeah, it's not even that good. It's not even that good. I think that the documentaries and true crime podcasts and true crime shows are good. Because I think that's a good way to deal with it. But once you turn it into a show and they're the main character,
and you get Evan Peters, who's like the sexist,
and you get like like I enjoyed listening to because I had heard from a friend of mine that lived in LA during the what's the Richard
the Night Stalker,
Richard Ramirez, right? And he was in LA during that time, and he was like, man, it was just like fucking crazy. And I enjoyed watching the documentary because it was like talking to the cops that worked the case and this stuff. But do I want to see a Netflix show about him where they get like Pedro Pascal or something like that to play him? Like, no,
exactly.
No, because I feel that's not good for the victims. That's just not good for society in general.
Yeah. So also, funny thing, Richard Ramirez is from El Paso, and he was really good friends with my dad.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
And my dad was like, yeah, he was kind of quiet and he liked to sleep in the cemeteries. And I was like, yeah, these are weird things.
What?
Because they were in the Segundo Barrio, so they just kind of like all lived together. And, you know, like it was that thing where you're just friends with whoever lives around you. And so they lived around him. His brother still lives in El Paso. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know. But they try not to talk about it too much. But yeah, it's a very weird. it's very weird that he's from El Paso, and it's also the thing about Richard Ramirez that I always liked is that he tried to hide within the Mexicans because he thought the Mexicans would save him. And once they figured out who he was, they like beat the shit out of him and like presented him to the cops. And I always think, like, what a good end to Ramirez's thing, because he was terrorizing these neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods eventually like fought back as soon as they could and turned him in immediately. And I think that's he like wanted to use our love of community against us, so we didn't let him, you know.
Yeah, Pablo Escobar did something similar in Colombia, except he would pay any people off. He wasn't murdering them, you know. Well, he was yeah. All right, moving right along. Okay, do you want some cringe or do you want Kanye or is Kanye?
Well,
I mean, I don't even really know. The Kanye story has just been so crazy. You know, like there's a couple of clips that were just like the epitome of it for me. I'll play this one here because this one's just insane.
The thing about it, me and Adidas is like, I could literally say anti-Semitic shit and it can't drop me. I could say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what?
Well,
that didn't age well.
yeah.
Well,
Also,
I mean,
I like at this point he had already said anti-Semitic things. Like,
Yeah.
No, this was. I mean, the whole last 2 weeks with Kanye have been fucking exhausting. The latest thing that came out today is that he wanted to name his Ye album from 2010. He wanted to name the album Hitler.
Oh my
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And yes, Adidas as well as
Everyone
many German companies were founded by Nazis. The guy who founded Adidas' name is Adolf. But the thing is, Germany is now very anti-Semitic. You can get in trouble for saying anti-Semitic stuff in Germany these days. It's a very progressive company. But Adidas did take a little bit longer than everybody else to finally drop them. They were also talking about a $1 billion entity with Yeezys and their partnership and stuff like that. So there was probably a lot of logistics that had to go into them dropping him. But I guess the weird thing about that clip is just him so blatantly saying, the good thing about Adidas is I can say anti-Semitic things and they can't drop me because of his knowledge that it's a German company. And it's been really easy to spot the anti-Semitic in your friends list this last week.
Yeah.
It's been because they sort of been like self-reporting a lot.
Right.
But man, how do you guys react to that?
Well, I thought it was more of the fact that he had ingrained himself so much in the Adidas brand. And I think that's what it like. I don't think Adidas did this because they're super. I don't believe any corporation does anything for the good of themselves. I think they looked at it and they saw that it was hurting them more than it was helping them. And they knew that they were going to take a hit, but they were like, well, if we don't drop them now, we're going to take a bigger hit. So it's the word. And I think he was like a little bit taunting them. He seems to be trying to get a reaction from everyone.
Yeah, one of the theories was that he was trying to get out of his contract with them, but that he kind of took a little bit too far.
Well, I think better ways.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel he has bipolar disorder, and he's clearly having a manic episode. So I don't know. I feel like the self-aggrandizement that he does, where like, oh, I'm powerful and no one can drop me. He forgets that, you know, like Andrew said, at the end of the day, it's capitalism that rules. And so, yeah, the Yeezy brand makes a shit ton of money, and Adidas is losing out. But over the long haul, it's better to sever ties. So that's where he doesn't. I don't know. I hope he goes back on his meds. I don't know.
Yeah, and it is that thing where I don't know. Once you start spewing hatred, it's like, all right, you need help in a lot of ways, but also you need to get off of the internet and off of.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a brand at the end of the day, and it's capitalism, so they're gonna go where the money is. And unfortunately, anti-Semitism is just not profitable. So, what did you think would happen? Gosh.
Well, that's the other part of it, because there are two things that happen on the 405. There's a group of like straight up Nazis that harass people, and they put up banners across the 405 that said Kanye was right about the Jews, blah blah blah, all this other stuff. So it does embolden people, and it does embolden minorities, and it does proliferate that. But there is there is a morsel of truth about the fact that when he said, slavery was a choice, he didn't get canceled. And then the main point that some of these people say about Kanye getting canceled is like, well, YouTube and Twitch and this allows people to rap about murder and violence and this and that, but as soon as somebody says something about the Jews, that's when they get canceled. So that's kind of like the Black Lives Matter, no, all lives matter kind of argument to that situation, right? That's like the first thing that comes into your mind about that is, well, how about that? So there is that talking point, there is that argument to be made about that, but I don't agree with anything that he says, because even if he says like abortion is the Black Holocaust, I think 1 billion abortions don't equal 6 million people lost in the Holocaust, because at the base level, abortions are a medical choice. And yes, those people could have been kids, but there's a billion reasons why systematically rounding up and murdering 6 million people is not the same as aborting 10 billion babies.
Yeah, and it's not babies at that point. You're literally making a false equivalence from an embryo, a zygote even, to a human being. Like, that's just not, it's not equivalent.
And I think that the problem with that kind of stuff is that there's always false equivalence. Like, there's a big difference between, Ice Cube rapping about how he's going to kill like another gang member who's anonymous, and like Kanye's talking about how he's going to go DEFCON on all the Jews. Like, there's a very big difference between those. And it's that thing where like, people are always trying to justify their supremacy with like, oh, well, this guy's saying this. And it's like, it's a very easy conversation, because then you want to argue that point, but there's not a point there. Like, one of them is just a scenario where, violence is bad, but it's part of their art. And the other one is just straight up bigotry. And it's like that those two things don't have anything really in common.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I often will make the analogy, in terms of like, and again, this is looking at things from like the scientific perspective, but and this is something like it's mostly a right-wing talking point, but it's one of the ones where I think they do have at least some sort of interesting take is, for example, like 10 people killed in a school shooting versus 17 people that died over a weekend in Chicago and New York. And again, you go back to the fact that it's like, well, one of them is like gang violence and city culture and stuff, and that's different from somebody choosing to go murder a bunch of people. Right. But it's still people that are dying. So, there's both sides to everything in that facet, where you can sort of look at things and do the equivalencies. And it's a conversation that needs to be had, because you do want to, you more than one thing can be true, and you do want to fix some of that. I recommend watching the Lex Friedman interview. He gives them a little pushback.
Yeah, it's a really great interview.
Yeah, in terms of the Kanye thing, nothing really that we can add to that.
I think he's just used to having yes men around him, and so that's why that interview was like particularly he's just going at him. It's great. Giving him
all right, dragon news.
Ooh. Right. Oh, George.
That's the question I knew I was going to get. Do you have an update on the Wings of Winter? It's the same update I've been giving for a long time. I continue to work on it. It continues to get longer and longer. I mean, I was working on it.
That's what she said.
I flew back here 3 or 4 days, but I was rereading some chapters that I'd written earlier, and I didn't like them well enough, and so I kind of ripped them apart and rewrote them. And I've had some ideas while I've been on this trip. I got to get back and hopefully get to it while the ideas are still fresh in my head. It's a big book. I've said that before. It's a challenging book. It's probably going to be a larger book than any of the previous volumes in the series.
Of course.
The Desert Dragons and Storm of Swords are the two largest books in the series. They were both about 1,500 manuscript pages. I think this one is going to be longer than that. And I think I'm about 3/4 of the way done, maybe. But
75% done, Sofia.
I have to continue.
Bro, yes.
And there's the issue here of my friends at Random House, where I deliver this monstrous book that will be as big as this dragon.
I swear, if the editor takes more than like 2 days with it,
Oh yeah, I know. Let's go! I'm so excited.
I have to finish it. I have to get it all done, and I've given up making predictions because people press me. When's it going to be done? And I make.
Why are you doing this interview, George? Just go back and write.
Yeah, go write. Do nothing but go write. Listen, oh gosh.
All right, here's the
I'm so
question
worried
for
that
you,
he's gonna
Sophia.
drop dead. Yeah.
Here's
go ahead.
here's a question for you,
Just
Sophia.
worry.
Andrew, are you a Game of Thrones or
Yeah.
House of yeah? Okay. What is gonna happen first?
Okay.
Winds of Winter drops in book form, or House of the Dragon has its series finale?
Oh,
And
that
keep
is
in mind-
hard.
And keep in mind that they didn't know that season 1 was going to be a success. So season 2 is not going to come out till I think 2024.
Yeah. Okay. So
And they still got a couple of they're going to drag that out.
that's what I was thinking. Because listen, I know the entire story to House
do
of the
I.
Dragon, and there's certain points that they have to hit.
We should do a quiz on like the history of Westeros between us.
Oh, we should. I'm down. But yeah, the House of the Dragon, I can see it going for another 5 seasons if they really spread them out.
So which ones? So what happens? House of the Dragon
That's
ends.
like what, 5 years more
know,
because of post.
Or Winds of
I
Winter?
would, if he is 75%, I will say when the book will come out before Hot Deep.
But didn't it take him? How long has it taken him to get to 75%?
Exactly, it's already been.
Isn't it been like 20 years?
Well, yeah, but he at first he's not a lazy writer. I mean, he did drop the first few books in like every couple of years. He was dropping them. So obviously, I think it's just he became super popular, and then he's probably getting like laid a lot, and then he's probably just like he gets invited to every convention. He gets it, I'm saying he's like, what is it? I think one of the boxers I don't know if it was, I don't remember the boxer. So but the quote is, it's hard to get up to go run at 4 a.m. when you're laying in silk sheets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is the same when part of the reason that boxing has always been like minorities is because it was people that were struggling, the Irish, Black, Mexicans, and to be a boxer, you probably live in fucking the hood, and you got to get up and you got to go do your road work at 4 a.m. And when you make a little money and you're fucking laying in silk sheets, it's harder to have that energy. So I think there's probably a little bit of that,
Yeah, well, it's also like he was writing on Game of Thrones. He's been very involved in the House of the Dragon. He did like those like little egg shorts that he was doing, and so it's not like he hasn't been writing. It's more just like, and also you got to think of the pressure. Like, imagine if someone else did the movie that you or like the book that you were doing, and the reception to it was really bad, and so like there had to be a point where like there's stuff in the book that's not in the show. And when he's writing on the show, he kind of has to like keep switching his mind back and forth. So I could see why it's taken him a lot longer than he probably even assumed that it was going to take him.
I also wonder with House of the Dragon how long, because the seasons aren't confirmed, right? Like we don't know how long the totality of the show is going to be.
Yeah, we just know they're going to do next season.
Okay, because I also wonder, like in Game of Thrones, the actors also had other projects and they got bigger and bigger, and then they didn't want to be there. So for someone like Matt Smith, who's like a pretty famous actor, I feel like he's not going to want to stay longer than 3 years. I don't know. I don't know how long his contract is, but I feel like if I knew what he signed, I would have an answer. Did he sign a 5-year? Did he sign?
I mean, depends on what they cover in season 2.
Yeah, but what I mean is like, I don't want to spoil anything.
That's what I'm saying. He could probably be done in season 2 if he
yeah, they can make it work, but they would have to progress a lot. Though.
They would have to speed it up. But I think that would be more like a season 3 ending for myself. I think
it might be like it might be a 4 season, maybe 5. Let's stretch it out.
Yeah. I think the main thing for next year is going to be Blood and Cheese.
Blood and Cheese.
Yeah, that's my prediction. Oh, okay, and then. And if I read a thread, and if you, and obviously for everybody out there, the best place to fucking talk about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon is the free folk Reddit, because that's where every spoiler is, and that's like the best. That's like the most free flowing. The Reddit free folk is my fucking favorite.
Yes.
A Song of Ice and Fire is okay, but they always like. It's like spoiler free and stuff like that. There's a lot of really cool discussions. One of the cool things that I saw this week was the idea of a prequel set during the time of Aegon the Conqueror, but told through the eyes of like Dorne and like the other parts of Westeros, where they're just the villain. So it's like about the people that are getting conquered by the dragons and the dragons.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like not like the Dahmer thing where you're talking because from Aegon the Conqueror, spoiler alert, he conquered because he had he had a dragon that was the size of a kaiju that literally could melt castles.
Yeah.
So for him it was pretty easy, you know. But from the perspective of the other people, it would be kind of a cool, you know.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I think
Plus, we don't see enough Dorne. And
Yeah, I love. That's my favorite city too,
yeah,
Dorne.
Yeah,
they do like karate or something. They're super cool over there.
Super sex positive too.
This shark looks how I feel.
Damn.
Oh. Oh.
That's same shark. Same.
I feel you.
Same shark.
Jesus.
That's how I go about my life.
And apparently, sharks get attacked by giant jellyfish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, like that was.
That makes sense because he has like kind of almost like lashes.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's jellyfish stings.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. All
Pobrecito.
right. This is like a thing that people. Okay, watch this first, and then I'll tell you kind of like the thing, right?
Okay.
I think I'm gonna put us.
Oh yeah, dolphins are rapists. I forgot about that.
Trigger warning: dolphin rape.
Yeah.
Okay, right, but the thing is that like apparently, that's a thing that you pay for.
Oh.
So like you could pay extra for and there was videos of this. There's another video of it, but apparently you can pay extra to have the dolphin fake try to bang you.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's a video of a guy like egging the dolphin on, and the guy just sitting there, and he's like, "Yeah, come here, fuck this guy." And the dolphin was like, "All right, time to fuck it up." But yeah, dolphins are notoriously sexual offenders.
Yeah, I know they'll do it they'll do it on their own, but it is weird for people to pay for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unsettling.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, you want to swim with dolphins? Yeah. I want him to carry him around, and I want to hold on to his fin. Yeah, that's $200. Excellent. All right. Do you offer anything else? Yeah. You want him to dry hump you?
Yeah. Like, how do you broach that subject? It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna get the dolphin touch, and you can ride him for a little bit, and then if you want him to have sex with you, that's like an extra $40.
Yeah.
If you want him to ride you,
yeah, be like, no, you know what? I'm gonna go to SeaWorld. I trust it a little bit more.
All right. Apparently, if you have an upside down pineapple on your luggage, on your shirt, or if you put an upside down pineapple in your shopping cart, it means you are a swinger.
What?
Yeah, that's weird.
Do you know about this?
No.
No.
I feel like, are swingers still giving each other codes like the 70s?
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like the swingers are just swinging.
Like, how's that easier than just like
nowadays?
How's that not easy? I mean, there's probably like a Tinder group or something you can join that's easier than that, right?
Yeah, like do they get excited if they go into like a smoothie bar or something?
Yeah, it's like, ooh, the pineapples are upside down. You know what that means?
Yeah. Well, the more you know.
All right, this is the best thing I saw on TikTok.
Just came back from the shop, and we got Indian food. Yeah. Actually, this was Pakistani food, but I heard they were similar. Yeah. Pakistan? Yeah. Pakistan? Yeah. We didn't know what to get, but we got chicken tikka masala because the manager said it was good.
The nails.
He said a tip is to eat it with yogurt. And then we have some garlic naan. It's a bit dry. And then we got some chicken biryani. I think the smell was like haunting me in the Uber back. Yeah. Let's try it. Me and her also got our nails done for $300. Tell us if it's a good price. I personally love them. Stop. So first we're going to try the chicken biryani. Out of the way. I heard very good things about this. No, it's Brianna. No, it's Brianna.
This is how I feel whenever I see anybody do like trying Mexican candy or like just I'm like, white people, come on.
Oh,
It's so spicy.
This, this girl on the left is a really good actress.
Maybe we were growing up, so it's not like
the commitment, yes.
Whoa. Not for me. Okay, so I'm gonna try the chicken tikka masala next. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
I'm just gonna try it. Here's the naan, garlic naan, the naan bread. Okay, there's the naan bread.
I'm hungry now. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, that looks good.
Damn. All right, so it's a parody of white people just the caucasity.
No. Who likes this? Put the camera, Brittany. But you work this thing.
Reaction videos.
Pakistani food, like a 7 out of 10. Too oily for me. I'm actually on a diet. Can't wait to eat a salad tomorrow. Too oily, too spicy. I think I'm gonna rate it 3 out of 10. But since it's cultural, I'm gonna rate it 4. Ethnic. Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, the kids are going to be all right. They know how to tell stories. That's interesting. Yeah, that's definitely like one of those like, and they call this guacamole or you know, like one of those
tamarind flavor. Yeah, I can't tell you how many reacting to Mexican candy videos I've seen.
All right, wrapping this up here. I do want to shout out that I forgot to give away tickets today, but
oh my god,
that's fine. So the digital gym, and I'll do a quick commercial here for the digital gym. The Mi Gente Show is proud to have the digital gym in San Diego, California as one of our sponsors, and they're allowing us to give away tickets so that you guys can go check out the brand new Digital Gym Theater in downtown San Diego. They used to be in El Cajon, Bully, and now they're in downtown. This week, the Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues film is playing. It's a cool little like 40-person theater, air conditioning, nice screen. They did they played a 60mm cut of the original Night of the Living Dead a couple of weeks ago that I didn't get to go to. They play a lot of cool indie movies. This is a real popular movie right now, Argentina 1985. The Louis Armstrong movie starts this week, and then there was one other one, and I think they're also playing. They're playing sorry, that's not what I wanted. That's not this way.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, Halloween, the original.
Yeah, they're playing the original Halloween.
Very cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So Saturday, October 29th. So we were going to give away tickets. So if anybody's in San Diego, hit me up. If not, I'll probably just take the tickets myself. I don't know.
We should have done this at the beginning of the episode. Damn.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But shout out to the Digital Gym series. So, man, go check them out, man. So we're going to be giving away tickets every show now to people in Southern California so they can come check this out and so that people can get to know the theater a little bit better.
Cool. That's cool.
Love the Digital Gym. Love them.
So you want to go see a movie Saturdays?
I'm down. Oh no. Did I win?
You are the lucky winner.
Oh.
Fuck yeah. All right. Cool.
How many
right,
no-namas do we have?
We have, let me get 7. All right. I'm going to save the rest of these for later. I'm going to give you guys one more. I'm going to let you choose though.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to see a horrible Tinder date or a cringy wedding speech?
Andrew,
I mean, after the reaction from Sofia, we have to go with the wedding speech.
All right, we're gonna go with white lady cringe. Okay.
Nice.
All right, here.
The best kind.
The best kind.
Oh, I thought it was an no-namas.
Hi, I'm Shannon. I've known Tracy for God. I think so. I started with the store there. Yeah. So I don't quite know Anthony that well, but
Not off to a good start.
Non-stop. Seriously. And she'd be like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "I don't care." No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. You guys are so cute.
She doesn't care that he's black.
Oh my God.
Seriously, like, till death do us part, Anthony. Seriously, you better take care of my girl. Because if you don't, I know where you live. Just kidding.
Even that little girl is.
That little girl's like.
Yeah, they were the little kids though.
Oh no.
Like, I'm not gonna be racist, you guys.
Oh no, it got worse. It got worse.
Don't be racist, okay? No.
Oh.
Just kidding. I'm not gonna be racist.
You guys are gonna get the like.
Yo.
No, seriously, you guys are outstepping the stereotype. But guys,
Oh.
I love you guys.
It's lasting so long.
This is painful. I chose wrongfully.
Look at the girl. She's like, "Are you?"
She's like, is she done? This is terrible. Oh no.
Bless you.
They're like, all right, bitch.
Yes, Becky.
Give up the mic, Beck.
You're done here. You're done.
I mean, how do you get the like? Because she starts off the speech by saying, "I don't know you that well."
Yeah.
I don't know him that well. And she told me he was black. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a courtesy.
And I'm not
invite.
racist.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just so you guys are aware, I am not racist.
Digging that.
Just keep digging yourself through it. All right. We're gonna get to Dynami's way in 2 seconds, but we did promise Andrew that we're gonna do a bracket bit. We're gonna do a speed round, all right? So we're gonna do speed round Nonamis. I mean not speed round Nonamis. We're gonna do speed round bracket bit, but I do have to absolutely play the song. I can't not play the song.
Oh gosh.
I gotta play the song. All right, Andrew, you're our guest. And I don't know if you've seen me do this on previous shows, but something that we do with all our guests is something that we like to call the bracket bit.
All right, boys, you guys know what that sound means. It's time for bracket bit. Bracket bit. Bracket bit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Bracket bit. Bracket bit. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Fireside chats.
Is right, Andrew. The music means it's time for bracket bit. Sophia, thank you for hanging out with us here. We're doing a little.
Yeah, it's
overtime.
past my bedtime, man.
I know you're still okay for us right now. We'll be out of here shortly.
Yep.
All right, and Andrew, you as a guest get to go through the bracket bit. The bracket bit is created to add maximum pain. I create the bracket. You solve it. We've been doing a Halloween bracket since it is Halloween, so we're going to give you some Halloween franchises, and you tell me some horror franchises. You tell me which one moves on. Are you ready?
Yes.
Whatever term whatever methodology you want to use to solve the bracket, which movie's your favorite, which one you think you'd rather direct, whatever. Sometimes I like to ask myself, if I had to watch one of these two movies, which one would I watch next?
Okay.
But just keep that methodology through the whole process, all right?
Okay.
And away we go. We got the Halloween franchise, or sort of a more obscure, weird horror, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Halloween, for sure.
All right. The Blair Witch Project, or Alien.
Alien.
It Follows, or The Exorcist.
I'm just gonna be very traditional. I'm gonna go with The Exorcist.
Yeah.
All right. And if there's anything you want to add to about any of these movies that's particularly important to you, feel free. This is why we add this at the end.
I feel like you can't be a Catholic without liking The Exorcist.
Exactly.
And that way, just because we're doing The Exorcist, I got to go back here to our Exorcist themed logo at the top here.
Yeah.
Right.
Religious this month we were.
Yeah. Tremors or Poltergeist. Is the terror coming from below or from the TV?
Tremors for sure.
Yeah,
anything
like
with Kevin Bacon automatically gets bumped up once.
Absolutely. Silence of the Lamb or Hellraiser.
Okay, this is the first super tough one.
Oh.
I'm gonna go.
This is where I remind you that the bracket bit is created to cause maximum pain.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Shit, I gotta go with Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Indie cred.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
one
Have you watched?
location. It was super cheap.
Have you checked the remake?
Yeah. It has. It's cool to watch like a big budget version of the same thing. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, The Fly or Nosferatu.
Since I don't remember Nosferatu, I gotta go with The Fly.
Mm-hmm.
A Nightmare on, I think I know the answer to this one. A Nightmare on Elm Street or Mandy?
We gotta go Nightmare for sure.
We have Josh or The Shining.
Oh shit. I'm gonna go. I gotta go Shining, just because the bear scene. Bear scene alone.
Scream or The Ring?
Scream.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
All right, we got the two horror masters of the new generation. We have the Nope, Us, Get Out, Peele franchise, or we have Midsommar, Hereditary.
Nope.
You're gonna go with Peele over Ari.
Yeah.
Final Destination or A Quiet Place?
A Final Destination, way funner.
Carrie or Gremlins?
Oh, Gremlins.
All right.
It's all fun. It's all fun, friends.
First person that picked Gremlins, yeah. Texas Chainsaw or Evil Dead?
Oh no! Why you put those together?
That's hard.
Yeah, shit.
Ooh, Sofia, when they're like, when they're doing that, it just I love it.
When it's the first Evil Dead,
The mad scientist.
Texas Chainsaw, yeah.
Texas Chainsaw?
Yeah, if it was Evil Dead 2, I would have flipped them. But
What's the
Evil Dead
franchise?
1,
It's a franchise. This is the whole Texas Chainsaw versus the whole
it's still
Evil
gotta
Dead.
be Texas Chainsaw.
All right, there we go.
All right.
The Lost Boys or Psycho?
Lost Boys.
Cujo or The Thing?
Oh, The Thing for sure.
Terrifier or Friday the 13th?
I'm gonna go Terrifier, just because it got the
second bracket bid in a row where Terrifier has beat Friday the 13th. Natalie also put Terrifier through all the way to the finals. She was a big fan. The Thing or the Terrifier?
Oh, The Thing. The Thing is immediately.
There you go.
All right.
Classic, yeah.
Texas Chainsaw or the Lost Boys?
Texas Chainsaw.
Gremlins or Final Destination?
Gremlins again.
Scream or Nope?
Oh shit. I gotta go Nope, just because overall.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Jordan takes out Craven.
Huh.
All right. The Shining or Nightmare?
Oh, Nightmare for sure.
The Fly or Hellraiser?
Hellraiser.
Tremors or The Exorcist?
Ah, shit. Tremors.
Halloween or Alien?
Oh, I'm wearing an Alien shirt, so Alien.
Nice.
Oh, Alien gets through. All right, Alien or Tremors?
That's hard.
I'm wearing an Alien shirt, so Alien.
Hellraiser or Nightmare?
I would almost want to do Hellraiser because it has a space one, but I gotta go Nightmare still.
All right, that sets up an interesting final over there. Nope or Gremlins?
Gremlins for sure.
Takes out Jordan Peele.
I know.
Chainsaw Massacre, the franchise, or one of the horror classics of all time, The Thing.
The Thing.
The Thing. All right, we got our final four. This is an interesting one. I like your final four because I love Gremlins getting there. All right, we got Gremlins or The Thing.
Shit. I'm gonna go with Gremlins.
Do. Hey, and then Alien, the shirt you're wearing, or A Nightmare on Elm Street, based
the movie you made,
the movie that we just saw.
Shit. I'm gonna go Alien. Take some risks. Yeah.
Ooh, Alien. And then lastly, we got Alien or Gremlins.
It's like a serious series and a ridiculous series.
Yeah.
Man, that thing where she tells the story about her dad fucking dying in the chimney because he was trying to come down is like, it's like such an underrated fucking just like what?
Yeah, and it comes out of nowhere. There's really no like lead up to it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's just like a throwaway, just horrible thing.
Yeah, it's so great.
It's a throwaway downer.
Based on if I had to pick someone who was like, oh, which one should we watch? I would go Alien before Gremlins.
Now, if they're like, hey, we're doing a 8-episode Hulu show based on one of these two franchises, you get to direct one. Which one would you do?
I still gotta go Alien.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd have some fun doing a Gremlin show.
I think it'll have some fun, but there's no rules to the Gremlins universe. They break the rules constantly. So
hey, man, it's
a big challenge.
It's midnight somewhere. All right, that is a valid bracket. Good job, Andrew. Good job getting to that. All right, now let's get to the final segment of all our shows, and it is something that we call.
Now it's time for
No Names Way.
No Names Way. No Names.
All right,
love that.
we got 7, but they're a couple of them are really short. So we should be able to knock through them. Plus, you know, it's Halloween. It's Halloween. We're having a little fun.
Spooktacular.
All right. All right. We're gonna go with Scared to Love. Okay. Scared to Love writes, I met my girlfriend last year when she was 20 and I was 28. When I posted some picture of us celebrating our 1-year anniversary, I got called a groomer and a pedo by mostly randoms, but some of my longtime friends did say it was kind of creepy. I really love her and we love the same shows and movies and act the same age, but it is going to be a thing if we stay together. And why doesn't anyone ask her how she feels and immediately calls us out? For background, we kept our relationship sort of hidden for a while until we were both cool with being more public. And now we are regretting it, or at least wondering how we will deal with it since we don't want to break up.
I think it'll actually be less of a problem as they get older, but also, like, I don't know. I mean, I've talked to like 20-year-olds and I don't have anything in common with them, but if they're comfortable, they're both adults.
Yeah.
This is like kind of like I think that, I mean, and I don't know if it's Gen Z. I don't think millennials are that bad, but there's just something like there's such a discourse right now about anything above like a 3 age gap is seen as problematic, like so fast. Like, and it's not even like how did you meet each other? How'd you do this? It's like you are a group. It's like my grandma met my grandma when she was, and this is something that you can say about thousands of millions of Latino families. It's like my grandpa was 26 and my grandma was 15, and they were married for 72 years. And then they'll immediately say your grandpa was a pedophile. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, well, I don't know if that really counts for like 1952, you know, but I understand it, but it's like,
yeah, I mean, it's just such a slippery slope. Or like, I think my grandparents, I don't think it was that big, but I think it was like my grandpa was older and like he literally took my grandma.
Yeah, I was gonna say my grandpa was
rode in
definitely
on a horse and he took her from the family and they got married that night. And then they came back married and the family finally accepted them, which I don't know how that looks to more normal people. Even saying it out loud, it's a little weird, but they were married until they passed. And so, but they seem to make it work. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's just like, I mean, if you feel comfortable and you're both adults and everything's been consensual, it seems, then I don't see a problem. I mean, I personally wouldn't do it, but more power if you guys are happy.
Sophia, what's the technical?
Well, no, the technical. No. Don't use my degree against me.
Bring the book smart, please.
I'm still an idiot. No. No, I mean, I'm similar to Andrew. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I also don't find any 20-year-olds that I have anything in common with. But if it worked for you and it's genuine and it's consensual, you're both adults. She can join the military. I don't see why she can't date a 28-year-old. But you also need to just come to terms with the fact that it's going to make people uncomfortable. That's a huge age gap. And it is her formative years, right? So you're past that. She's not. It's going to make certain people uncomfortable. You just have to make peace with that. And I don't want to say justify your love, but like if you're very comfortable and confident that you have a true connection, you are mentally around the same level, then it's not grooming, you know? So I would just say, have faith in your connection. Because unfortunately, there's going to be people that are always going to yuck that yum. I'm just saying, it's weird. It's like, I am one of those. I'm sorry. I just feel like that's a huge age gap. And I wouldn't let my daughter near a 28-year-old. But, if I think it's more about the mental capacity and the level of, if you're near the same intellectual level, I would say, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not dating anyone where there's a possibility that I'll have to end up at a club. Like that's
she's not even 21.
Exactly.
She's turning 21. Like, but maybe she's not a drinker. Maybe she's not into the party thing. I don't know, man.
But it's that thing where I think about that too. And again, it doesn't relate to the older generations because it wasn't like that. But now, like, if you think about it, if I was dating, a 21-year-old, I wouldn't want to go to the clubs, like I said. But you also don't want them to have to sacrifice those experiences in that time because for you, and it's like that's like there's so many things to me that I just don't relate to with the 21-year-old that I don't think like I just think those two things are. But again, if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah, as long as it works, that's fine.
So my 2 cents are that I typically would define grooming as meeting somebody when they're in their developmental years, but I think I've always thought it was like, because I know creepy guys, and they're like, yeah, I got this chick and she's 13, 14, and I'm just friends with her, but they were literally like saying, I'm grooming this girl so that when she's 18 I can date her. So that's the way I typically would define as grooming, as meeting somebody in their formative years and specifically setting out to have them worship you so that when they get to a dating age, they consider you more than they consider somebody else, or you're so close to them that it just seems natural, or you say, hey, I want you to be with me and stuff like that. I think the second part of that is you're giving guys too much credit, because I think any guy like that's in their 20s is still dumb as fuck. And from my perspective, I don't think that if you didn't know them when they were younger, and I guess you can say if you're not fully developed till 25, then anything underneath that is going to be sus. But then I think if we really as a society are going to do that, then we need to also stop people from doing porn until after they're 25. And
that's what I mean. Yeah,
because I think almost because I think that's almost more harmful. But then we're also supposed to be like pro sex work, right? So I think it's just like we're super hypocritical about this whole thing, because there's certain things that we allow 18-year-olds to do and 20-year-olds to do, and then all of a sudden when they say they want to date a 30-year-old or a 28-year-old, we're like, no. I think we're giving guys too much credit, because I think dumbass guys in like their 20s and early 30s even will date who's attracted to them.
Yeah. Well,
so I think that's where that starts. So if you're telling me that if you're a 27, 28-year-old dude and a 20-year-old chick is into you, it is very difficult for that guy who's dumb and also not super developed to say no to that.
Now, that's what I mean by as long as they're in similar levels intellectually, because that's when grooming can occur, is when one person is just like way ahead of the other one, and they use that to
like the senior dating the freshman.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, because there's such a power dynamic there.
Yeah, there's what I'm saying. But if you're like in your 20s and there's like a 19, 20-year-old chick and she's into you, guys date, like the old Chris Rock thing. A man is as faithful as his options. If you have no options, it's very easy to be super faithful. But if you have multiple options, or if the girl is attracted to you, then I don't see how that is unless you're at that point, you're telling 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old girls that they're the ones that are wrong by being attracted to these dudes. So I think there's that part. But in your scenario, scared to love.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know, man.
I changed my opinion based on that username.
Yeah.
Scared to love.
I think it's just the way that you read. Scared to love.
Like Sofia said, if you're confident in the relationship and if you guys are similar age mentally, then you're just going to tough it out. When you're 62 and she's 54, nobody's going to give a fuck.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're going to write it. You have to write it out until she hits like mid-20s.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, if you guys are still together after she's turned 21 and she's
I was going to say he's probably going to dump you, I'm not going to lie. I hope not, but let's be honest. If I was a 20-year-old girl dating a 28 guy, I'm staying with him until I'm legal. Until I can drink, I have my own life. I'm gonna want to date younger guys. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, once you get out there,
Moving right along. All right. This next one comes to us from I Found the Hentai. My dad asked me to fix something on his laptop. He is not quite a boomer and usually technical savvy, but was having issues connecting his external hard drive. He gave me his laptop and one hard drive. Hold on, let me put it over here so I can look at you guys while I'm talking. He gave me his laptop and one hard drive. I switched out the cable and his hard drive worked right away. I switched out the cable and the hard drive. I took it back to his office to tell him it was fixed, but he had stepped out. I saw he had another external drive on his desk, and I figured I would test it out to make sure it was working.
Nope.
When I plugged it in, it immediately read the drive and started auto playing my dad's entire porn collection.
No.
That was embarrassing enough, but I caught a glimpse of his playlist and I saw some of the titles and they were gross. Mostly teen-based stuff with girls younger than me. I'm mid-20s, women in cheerleader outfits, etc. I was in shock but couldn't stop reading the names. Finally, I shut it closed. Texted him that it was fixed and that it was the cord. but I left the porn drive plugged into his laptop.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
I have zero idea what to say or do.
That's badass.
Yeah, I would never mention it ever again.
Yeah, it's
But
gonna be
she
like
left
it's
it
gonna be
plugged
a.
in, so he knows, right?
He
that
knows.
she
Oh, he
died?
knows. Yeah.
He knows.
It's a lie of omission for sure.
Yeah.
That's gonna be one of those things that's just gonna hang over you guys until his deathbed.
Yeah.
I will say, in the dad's defense, you're not necessarily looking for the topic. Sometimes you're just looking for the performer. And so the titles could be misleading, especially like if he's getting them from like just random porn sites. Like titles don't mean anything. Like they'll title like Hassan like tearing up a Republican, like white guy destroys Republican ass. Titles don't mean anything. So maybe it was more normal. I wouldn't judge him based on random titles.
Okay, here's a question for you guys. What you find your dad's porn stash, what would be more shocking to you? That he had like the barely legal teen category or that he had gay porn mixed in? Or like some bi porn? Which one would make you be like, oh, wait, hold what?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird.
Neither.
I
don't think porn. Yeah, I think when it comes
porn
to porn preferences, it's like it doesn't necessarily go with what you like in real life. I don't know. I've heard too many porn stories from friends, and everyone's into weird shit. I'm like, those are not extreme at all.
Because I feel like if you want to be sex positive and you want to be supportive of sex workers, then you have to like understand that porn can be explorative. And so if maybe maybe he thinks he has some gay thoughts or something and he wants to explore it and maybe he didn't get into it. Or maybe like I remember the one time I bought a porn movie, they like gave me another disc and it just had a bunch of clips from random porn and it just had everything. So it had gay porn, it had like bisexual stuff. It just had whatever. It was like here's a little appetizer. And so that was super weird. But I think it's just whatever if they want to be into it.
Yeah, I don't want to make it weird, but like I would say I would panic if I found something illegal. So like actual human sex trafficking with like little girls, like something along the lines of that Glee guy.
There is a line.
There's a line. So like
bestiality.
Bestiality, exactly. I think then I'd be like, oh fuck.
Even if
I gotta tell the cops.
Even if it's super rough, even if it's illegal stuff, I don't know. That's
like tying up, like domination. I don't know. There is a creep factor to like the barely teen stuff, where it's like the 25-year-old chick that's acting like she's 18 or like the first time on camera stuff. That's the stuff that I feel is a little bit more exploitative. Especially, like because there's been like actual cases where girls sign up, they do a porn, the porn person says, yeah, we're selling this on VHS in Russia, and they put it on the internet the next day, they go back to their hometown and everybody's seen them, so and that was like an actual case, like they're looking for some dude that they're trying to put him in prison for life. So it's going to just hang over your relationship with your dad for the rest of your life. And maybe if you get super drunk at Thanksgiving this year, you might be like, but you'd be like, or you got that to use because you'd be like, motherfucker, I saw your, all right. So
just be like, oh, you want me to take out the trash? I don't know. Maybe I take out this hard drive and we'll see what's on.
Should I put my cheerleader outfit off when I put out the trash?
I'll tell mom a little something interesting. Yeah.
All right. Hates Halloween writes most overrated Halloween franchise or horror franchise, I guess would be the right way.
Overrated. I would say that I'm not a huge fan of the Jason franchise. I like Friday a couple, 13th. But yeah, that's why it was so easy to get rid of it. To me, I mean, I like my favorite one is the one where he fights Freddy. So that's probably mine in terms of I won't watch it.
I could say it's like that's super popular. That's we go with that. Friday the 13th.
I think so too. Yeah, I would have to agree. Out of the popular horror cult classics, Friday the 13th.
All right, choose or die. Writes, if you had to die in one horror movie, but it was real to you, which would you choose? You have to die for real in a horror movie, but you get to choose.
Definitely not Hostel. I don't want to be tortured. I want it to be a quick death.
Definitely not Hostel or Saw.
Or maybe Final Destination, but one of the quick deaths. It's just like I don't know. On a roller coaster, my head gets cut off. I don't know.
That's not a bad choice, because that one's like, yeah, you definitely want to go for it. You don't want to go with a saw or something like that.
No, yeah.
Even though it'd be like, ooh, it's cool to be a guy, because I could get out of the puzzle in Saw, but
yeah,
no, I think
and then Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole like sleeping. Like I love sleeping. I don't want to be scared to sleep.
the least torturous, the better. Definitely not Terrifier. Definitely not like Cannibal Holocaust. Definitely not Jaws.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Jaws would be bad.
Yeah, that would be bad. So yeah, probably.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just saying, like, maybe there's that line in Dusk Till Dawn where he says, like, oh, if these things are from hell, then there must be a heaven.
Oh, yeah.
So if you fight a demon, that means that you might automatically go to heaven if you win, even if you die.
I've changed my choice to being murdered by
Hayek.
Salma Hayek
Yeah.
from Dusk Till Dawn.
Me
Thank you,
That should
thank
be
you,
the
Andrew.
best one, yes. Yeah.
Death by Salma is the choice here.
She can
Absolutely.
do anything.
Yeah, I'll do that
Yeah.
not in the movie.
Punish
We can do
me,
it
mommy.
Right now. Let's figure it out. Yeah.
Andrew just switched this out like so quick.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. There you go.
Yeah.
Worth the price of admission right there, Andrew. All right,
That's my Salma.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is the GOAT of all Halloween candy. Undefeated. No one can convince me otherwise. But can you try rank all the Halloween candy from best to worst? Now, do it.
Damn, okay.
Trick or treat, motherfucker. All right. I don't think Reese's
what are
is
our
the,
options?
I think Kit Kat is the GOAT for me.
Yeah, I would say Kit Kat or Snickers. Kit Kat is good because you
Fun
can
size
eat
Kit
it
Kat,
while
yeah.
walking.
I do
You
love
can't
the
eat a
peanut
Snickers, I mean a Reese's while walking. It's too messy.
Mm-hmm.
I go Kit Kat, and the worst is anything corn nut or that one BS orange candy. Which one are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Oh, candy corn?
Yeah,
candy
candy corn. Candy
I
corn's the
love
worst.
candy corn.
You like candy corn?
Yeah, I love it.
What's the worst for you then?
For
Unpopular
worst,
opinion, I guess.
it's got to be dots. Dots.
Oh,
are
I
the
hate
worst.
dots. They're
Yeah.
so chewy, and yeah, I hate dots.
They have no flavor. They have
Dots
like a smell,
or
and
those
that's it.
fucking those Smarties.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's just that dust.
Yeah, it just tastes like shot.
yeah. Dots and Smarties for sure. Why?
Dot Smarties are the worst, and any licorice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like licorice at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
black
then
licorice is disgusting.
my favorite are like the candy coated fentanyl pills that they're giving out. That
There
everybody's
you
so-
go. Yeah.
Those are my favorites.
Kit Kat is a really good answer. I love Kit Kat. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
Kit Kat is
Yeah,
probably
Kit
the
Kat.
best
Kit
one.
Kat is for me. Yeah. All right, last two here. This one comes to us from already updating my resume. All right, back in the office after 2 years of remote work, new supervisor that was hired during the pandemic and I never met in person comes by my cubicle, sees my chapstick, grabs it, takes the top off with his teeth, uses it on his disgusting hairy lips, says something like, "This weather just changed, it's killer on my skin," and throws it
No.
back on my desk. I recoil in horror as he walks away. He sees my reaction and says, "I'll grab you a new one at lunch if you're scared of cooties."
What?
Ugh,
That's not real. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Quit for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quit your job, sir.
File a complaint, honestly.
Yeah, because it's like the equivalent of using your toothbrush.
Toothbrush. Yeah, exactly. That's so personal. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Even if like I gave someone like if someone asked for a drink of my water, I would expect them to do the like hold over your mouth
Yeah,
thing.
you
Yeah,
gotta
waterfall.
you drip. You don't
Yeah, you don't put it on your mouth. You put it
Ask-
all on
You
his
don't
mouth.
put it on your mouth. Yeah, that's
Have people just
that's-
lost all understanding of how you we're trying to live in a society here.
That's some serial killer behavior right there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I would say, yeah, quit.
File a
Yeah.
complaint first.
Yeah,
Because even on a real note, it's a weird cross boundaries that they've
Mm-hmm.
done, and they didn't even ask. Like, yeah, there's so much wrong with that.
Now, was it a brand new chapstick? And were there like, did you have like a bunch of chapsticks there, or is it just like your personal one? Like, where was it on your desk? It might be the only thing, because if he's like, oh, maybe, or maybe the company put out chapstick everywhere for everybody. I don't know. Like, maybe then they would be like, I'll just get you another one. Like, maybe he was just trying to make a point, and then he saw that you didn't kind of get the joke, and he's like, I'll get you a new one at lunch.
But even
But-
then,
but
that's
even
even then, it's still like, why? Why not ask? Why
you
not
should have
go
been
get
like, oh,
another
that's
one?
some chapstick I found in the toilet.
All right.
Just to
Yeah.
like turn
Nice.
it back
Fuck
on
with
him.
them. Yeah.
All right.
And
And then,
file a
and then,
complaint or quit.
yeah, complain or quit. Get out of there. Get out of there. And then the last one comes to us from Solita. All right. How do you get over a fact like you can never go home again? A physical home and the person that felt like home both at once. Not a breakup, just I lost both recently and can't seem to stop crying. I'm confused, homesick, and lonely. No. No. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what they say. You can't go home again. I think that mourning, I mean, if it's not a breakup, but it's like a situation where you're like,
maybe
something has changed.
Kicked out of a
I don't
situation.
know. Not a breakup. I just lost both recently and can't seem to.
Well, regardless, they're going through a grief process, right? Like
a physical home and the person that felt like home. All right, so it's definitely like at the end of a relationship or a situationship or something.
Yeah. That's rough.
I think it's that thing where it just involves time and like holding on to the people who are still around. That's like the main thing. And if it is a relationship or whatever, I mean, eventually you'll start looking towards other people, or or maybe you'll just find you like being single, but it will change in time. So
yeah,
I think it is just kind of that.
Give it time.
It's just gonna take time, yeah.
Go through the grief process and then start building a home that maybe starts with you. Don't rely on somebody else or living with somebody else, or just try to find a home and make a home within yourself, and then later you can maybe start to look at other people and build something with them.
Yeah, put any energy that you think in trying to salvage stuff like that and just put it into yourself. And it's cliche, but you have to work on yourself, enjoy spending time alone. Like Andrew said, focus on the people that are still in your life, that want to be in your life. And participate in life on your own terms. When you're ready, go out there and just whatever the thing that you love to do is, do it, and just live your life. And the shit will fall into place,
Yeah. Eventually you'll find that you no longer miss said person or home.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You can't go home again.
Don't judge yourself if it takes too long. Like, let it take as long as it's gonna take. Because I feel like a lot of times people get mad at themselves because they're like, I'm still sad after 3 months or whatever. Like, it takes the amount of time it takes. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't be too hard on yourself, and just remember that you always have the podcast.
Yeah, this is your home.
These learned co-hosts and guests here have said, just work on yourself and don't worry about that, because and don't try to outsmart, which is something that I did with my dad's death, is don't try to outsmart grief. And don't try to cheat the grieving process, because as smart as you think you are, there is a reason why there's stages and why you have to go through that, because like you said, like I've never stepped back into the same house. I walk into my dad's room and stuff like that sometimes, and I'm just like, and it's been several months, and I still, like 2 days ago, I found myself crying about it. So it's you have to go through a process. Things will happen, whether it's a relationship, a death in a family, a pet. It's always going to be something that's there.
Yeah.
So
loss of any kind is rough.
Allow yourself to mourn, and allow yourself to be, and allow yourself whatever amount of time that you need to feel better about things and to feel better about yourself, and that you just live your life for you.
Yeah, the only way out is through it. So.
There you go.
Good luck.
All right. Thanks, Sofia, for sticking around for overtime. Thank you, Andrew, very much. Thank you very much for being a guest. Thank you to Joe Castro.
Yes.
We had a couple of country boys, a couple of Texas boys on the show tonight, and both in the horror film industry. So much love to everybody that's stuck around. Much love to everybody that's listened to us. Much love to Podbean for featuring us and getting us a bunch of different people listening to the pod on that thing. Make sure you guys check out Andrew's channel and Joe's website that are in the chat. Thank you, everybody. Happy Halloween. Andrew, we'll be back in 1 minute to say goodbye. Everybody else,
hasta luego, mi gente.
Vamos, papá, hay que irnos. Me estoy aguantando desde que pusieron el domo.
¿Puedes esperar? Muchas personas trabajaron en esta película y solo quieren que te aprendas sus nombres de memoria.
Y yo quiero asegurarme de que ningún animal resultó lesionado durante la filmación de esta película. you.
Listo. Uy, palomitas en el suelo. Wow.
Espera, parece que Maggie tiene algo que decir. Creo que es su primera palabra.